see. Does this look right?
Just click out of that.
Check 1, 2.
Check, check.
Oh, that picked up. That's coming out.
Hey, we got numbers. We are live over here according to what I'm seeing. Oh, that's the good thing. That is the good thing. This is challenging, but we're getting there.
Chris, yours says
Oh, God, that thing again.
Mine
Oh,
says-
no.
Yeah.
Tom, can I put you in charge of that?
Look at the time
Yeah,
difference.
hand
though.
me that.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
We'll put All Tom right. in charge of that.
Here we are.
All right. We are live on the internet. That's not. John's playing the theme song. All right, there it is. All right, Chris, you got to put that down, the audio.
There's an echo in here.
At the top, just put the audio down. Hurry up.
You can say that again.
Turn them up.
All right, are we talking or?
I'm ready when you guys are. I was just
No,
letting
we're
Chris
live,
get
man.
the volume down.
Yeah, no.
Rock and roll.
All right, we are at Clevelandmoto Podcast, episode number 490. Light 'em up, boys. Yeah, mine is pre-lit.
Tinkle, tinkle.
Yeah, absolutely pre-lit.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here.
Yeah, Tom's going to try to get our little display going so we can look at our little monitor here, confidence monitor. But it has been a
Gotta turn it down.
cold, brutal week for us. The temperatures came up today, and we pushed bikes out so people could see them. We ran things that haven't been run in a long time. We made smoke, and just like what we thought would happen, people came in.
And it was 40 degrees today.
Right. And a lot of snow melted, a lot of stuff that we had that was a pain in my ass and just wouldn't leave. We got rid of it, and that's great. And so for today and tomorrow here in Cleveland, things are going to be melting a little bit. Things are going to be going, and then it's going to drop back down to 8 degrees. And so,
Shit,
yeah, there's
eight's
a
going to
big...
be the high. They said we're going to have the lowest we've had in 30 years.
Oh,
They're saying
man.
-10
-9.
and -15.
Oh, my God.
That's not the wind chill either. That's straight temperature.
God,
Yeah.
that makes me want to go to Vegas.
It does make you want to go to Vegas, right? Yeah, if only there was a way that you could go to Vegas, all right? That would probably be the best thing for you. I just tell you that we had that little burst of warm today, and I went out and I just did all the stuff. I'm like, yeah, move all the snow out of the way, get everything out so we can get ready for the deep freeze. This is the time. Yeah. And you know, we had a customer come today. We sold a bike. That was great.
Did you really?
We sold a bike.
Tell us about it.
This is a guy that actually has bought bikes from my Uncle Kenny at Odin Cycle back in the day, in the 60s. He's that guy. He's just one of those dudes. He's a friend of Sills BMW. He's been with those guys forever. He's bought 7 or 8 bikes from them. He's just a great dude. And he's at that point in his life where he's had 1200cc BMWs. He's had all kinds of big bikes. And he's like, I just want a bike I can fart around in the neighborhood on. Yes, we have those. We have fart around in the neighborhood bikes. We have bikes that are specifically for farting around in the neighborhood. And I'm telling you, today was one of those days where we remember why we locked the door. Because today I got the 100%, oh, I am a museum. I am a destination for old white men. And I think he was in our shop for 4 hours.
Holy cow.
Greg O'Hagan from Ireland says we had -15.
We have
in Ireland.
negative 15 in centigrades?
Celsius, right?
Yeah, it's got to
Come
be in
on.
Celsius. Remember, they line up at -40, right? So it's just one of those things that today was that day where I was trying to get show notes together. I was trying to get stuff together for the podcast, and I'm feverishly hunting the internets and looking for facts and figures and data. And this guy came in, and he's like, I need some motorcycle therapy. He didn't say that, but I picked up on it after 2 hours.
Well, you have a PhD in that, so.
I do.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to have a bite-sized portion. He wanted the whole meal, soup to nuts. And he was there.
What
And
did he ride away on?
He didn't ride away,
Well,
but he bought a black Vespa Sprint.
nice.
So he bought a black Vespa Sprint that is a 2023 model year, so I'm thrilled to be rid of it. It's one of my last 2023s I have in stock. And the only 2023 I have left is the Mickey Mouse bike, which I'm in no hurry to sell. That'll sell itself. We
A
don't need to worry
Sprint
about
is a 150.
Yeah, Sprint's a 150, and what makes it different is the trapezoid-shaped headlights.
Okay.
So the trapezoid-shaped headlight is something that it was in the 60s. That is what told the other consumers that you had the better Vespa because you had the trapezoid-shaped headlights. So the Super Sport, the GL, the Sprints, all the fast ones, all the cool ones, or the spicy ones, in the 60s had the trapezoid-shaped headlights. And that was just a great way for the Vespa company, from a marketing standpoint, to say at 50 feet away, you could tell that Vittorio got the new bike. He got the fun one. And because the headlight on a Vespa had traditionally been round.
Sure.
And so having a trapezoid-shaped headlight starting in 1964 was a great way to tell people, or 63, telling people, hey, this is the better one. This is the new one.
So my question is, did he see the Janus?
He did see the Janus.
Thoughts?
He was definitely looking for a Vespa.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to buy a Vespa when he came in. I knew he was going to buy a Vespa 2 months ago when I started talking to him. It took, I'm going to say, 3 one-hour phone calls. He displayed a symptom that a lot of people display, where they come into a room that has 120 bikes in it, and they see 120 different bikes, and they go, but I want something special. And what he wanted, what would have made him super happy, would have been had that black Vespa Sprint had a round headlight. And in training, in my years of training, we call that the 4-door Corvette phenomena. The guy comes into the shop and he's like, dude, I love your dealership. I love everything about it. I've been a huge fan of Corvettes since 1959. I love them dearly. You know what? I would buy one today, right now, if you had a Corvette with 4 doors. So what did he do? He gave himself permission to waste all your time, have a long conversation, have the boyfriend, girlfriend experience, do all the things, but then at the end of it all, he protects himself from spending any real money. He can continue to be a fanboy. He can continue to be protected from making an investment. And this guy's had all kinds of cool cars and a whole history of cool vehicles. And I said, look, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. If this is a deal breaker, I can take that trapezoid headlight, the whole top of the motorcycle, the whole handlebars, the whole assembly, I can take that off, and I can replace it with the round one off of the Primavera. I know dealers who've done it. I know somebody that's done it. You want to do it? Well, you know, that's what I want. Fantastic.
Press hard. The third copy's yours.
Yep.
I'm
you
thrilled
called
about
him.
that.
You called him on it. You
Swear
said, okay,
Jim
let's
Club
make
thrilled.
it happen.
Well, it just so happens that I have an entire headset assembly in black.
It's black.
In the back of the shop.
Right off of a Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse.
So it's black and we have the parts and everything's there. Oh, now all of a sudden things got weird because what happened? We called his bluff.
You just built his 4-door Corvette.
We just built his
Oh,
4-door
yeah.
Corvette.
Yeah.
And so he goes, well, you know, what's that going to cost? And I said, well, Renee went to the trouble when she was on the phone with you 3 weeks ago, and you mentioned that the only thing that you hated about the particular bike that we had here was the trapezoid headlight. Well, Renee went and did her due diligence and looked up every part. And there's about 25 parts.
Oof.
And the total net on this is going to be about $1,300. Because Tom will tell you what's involved with changing those handlebars. Because it's not just the handlebars. It's all the wiring that goes into the handlebars.
So he didn't. Why not just don't get the Sprint? Get the
Primavera?
Primavera.
Oh, because he knew that we didn't have a Primavera in gloss black. So had we had a Primavera in gloss black, he wouldn't have wanted a Primavera in gloss black. Right? So, you know, a little trick you learn in retail is they always want what you don't have. So if you have 6 green Vespas that you'd really like to sell green Vespas, take all 6 Vespas and put them in your warehouse.
Well,
Have
that's-
no green Vespas on the floor. And then the guy would come in. I would have bought it right now if it was in green. Would you? You know what? I don't think you would. And then make him say it. Make him force you. No, I really would have bought it if it was green. So you'd say if I had a green one right now, you'd buy it. Yes, absolutely.
Well, as fate would have it.
Vanna White. What do we have in
Please
the back?
Open curtain number 2, right? And in this particular case, once Renee was able to show him the build sheet of everything that was involved, and I was able to tell him the number of hours involved with making this change, because I'm not going to give him, yes, we have a bike that's totaled in the back that has the headset that he wants, but taking it apart is no small event. Tom, how long do you think it would take you to take apart the bike that's totaled and take apart the bike that's new, and transplant that device onto there?
Well, the first question I'd ask is, do we have to have the complete wiring harness in order for it to work? Because the question becomes, do all the plugs are the same for both dashboards?
Yeah, is the gauge cluster going to fit in like you got to pull the whole gauge cluster?
Everything,
Oh, yeah.
the speedo's got to come over. All the lighting's got to
Yep.
come over. Everything's got to
Yep.
come over. And that's Tom's point is absolutely right.
Because if I've
And
got to
that
do a
is-
whole wiring harness, that's now 5+.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's an 8-hour job.
Yep.
You had me. I was at fuck that a long time ago.
But the
if-
point is, we would have spun ourselves in circles trying to hit a target that we didn't
Yeah.
need to hit.
You just take a Primavera and put the Sprint badge on it. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Well,
Well, the problem
again,
is it's not gloss black.
He also didn't want. He also didn't want the black wheels that came on the bike. He wants Argent silver wheels. So I'm like, yeah, I'll swap wheels for you. I'm not worried about that.
Phil
You
and
know.
his customer were like two dogs sniffing each other's asses.
That's what it was. And
Chasing
that's-
each other around in
yeah.
circles.
And that's exactly what it was. And
but he bought.
just-
He's riding home on a new Vespa.
Yeah, and his
Good for him.
And it was a funny thing too. Our dealership doesn't work the same way that a lot of other dealerships work, and that we don't. We don't operate that way. That's not our jam. And so the fact that he kept trying to badger me for a discount, and I said, well, because you're taking the 2023 bike, I've automatically given you $500 off. But then he still kept asking for things off. And I said, well, we're going to change gears here, and we're not going to be at Clevelandmoto anymore. Now we're going to be at the BMW dealership. So I'm going to add on a $700 service contract. I'm going to add on gap insurance. I'm going to add on a tire warranty. I'm going to add on all these things. That's going to be like if you were buying the bike at any other dealer in America.
plus.
Let's add some pluses here that you can then fight off to feel good about yourself.
That reminds me of what was it, Burger King? It is Burger King's old slogan: "Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce. Special orders don't upset
I
us."
believe we used to say, "Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, shut up, lady, you upset us." Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm about to throw this remote through that TV because it does not. It'll see it'll see my neighbor's Wi-Fi. It won't see mine.
Oh.
It's in the same room with the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I've noticed it's unhappy with that.
It's TCL, man.
Well, I mean, it was happy last week.
It
so
was.
it's-
It
it's,
was.
Hey, Phil, you have a question directed at you.
I do. Go ahead. Somebody asked me that question.
Greg
please.
O'Hagan said, "Did you get the Gilera running in the USA? I had a 125 SP and it was a wee rocket."
The Gilera Runner
Gilera.
is what he's saying.
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, so the Gilera Runner. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a picture of that, all right, for the folks at home, so they can see it. There's many versions of the Gilera Runner.
Swedgen clocked in from Toronto, Ohio.
Swearingen. Yes, we love our Mr. Swearingen. Please, sir, give us more.
Straw Dogs calling in from New Hampshire.
Yay! Good to hear you, Good to hear you guys. All right, Sleepy, can you see that? Can you throw that up to the folks at home?
Yes, I can. Stand
All
by.
right,
Here we go.
fantastic.
Oh, Sean just said evening all.
Oh, there you go.
Was that O'Hara picking up
Sean
the?
O'Hara?
Well, he texted us earlier. He was picking up. Was it jailbirds?
Sean O'Hara had to report to Cleveland, Ohio, to do some bird management at the jail. So apparently, Sean O'Hara was literally handling jailbirds.
Yeah. All right.
He was doing legit jailbird detail. Yeah. So it's a really cool thing that he was around in town. Shame we didn't get to see him. Did you, Sleepy, just show that picture to the guys at home?
Yep, it's up.
All right. So a little about that, because we can't see it right now unless you're looking
Yeah,
at
I'm
one of
gonna
our
have to-
screens. But the Gilera Runner, here's what makes it special. What makes it special, automatic transmission scooter, nothing special there. Holds 2 humans, nothing special there. It's not particularly big, 12-inch wheels. But what makes this bike special is this bike has a 180cc 2-stroke motor. and it's a 100cc two-stroke liquid-cooled motor, which means it loves to spin to infinity, and it just gets up there in a hurry. As soon as this bike was built and was available to the public, every aftermarket company lined up in a row and said, we can make a cylinder kit for it, we can make an exhaust for it, we can make a Delta variator for it, we can make this thing just scream, and scream it did. It is not uncommon to see these bikes well in excess of 80 miles per hour, and it's a pocket rocket. It's still a tiny little scooter that weighs 240 pounds. Colin Shattuck, one of our friends, my old one that I had, which was this color configuration, mine was the KTM version of this. KTM did a partnership with Gilera just about the suspension, really, is what it came down to. And my bike that I got from one of my old reps from Kimco sold me the bike, and I sold it to our friend Billy the Mortician. And Billy the Mortician, Bone Man Billy, he has it stored in Denver, where our friend Colin Shattuck from Sportique Scooters is the caretaker of Billy the Bone Man scooter.
You want to? Speaking of weird connections, so you told a story a long time ago about some crazy doctor selling pills that got expedited to Russia.
Yeah, but I don't really want to go any deeper than that because their names are going to come out.
No, that's all I'm saying.
She's on.
I have his pants. I was forwarded through. I'm not even going to say who. Was like, hey, do you want a pair of overpants to throw in your bag? Yeah. And then he goes, this comes from a doctor. I'm like, I know that story.
We know the story.
So I guess before, on his way out to Russia, somebody was like, well, if they're going to get rid of the scooter, give me the shit out of it.
So he had a lot of bikes to sell after he forcibly emigrated himself.
I'm still not sure where my jaw ends.
So I have a nice pair of Climb Overlander pants that go over your normal riding pants. Yeah, buddy.
I think, and now if I'm wrong and somebody wants to give me the update on this, his current story was that he is in big boy jail now. So he'd made an attempt to leave Russia, and the international law enforcement agencies did not think it was a good idea for him to leave Russia. Russia was the only place he was safe. Mm-hmm. And he decided he was going to leave Russia, and that turns out to be the absolute wrong move for that particular guy. And it really is. It's unfortunate that. I mean, a nice enough guy. I love hanging out with the guy. I have zero complaints about the dude, but his situation was one that he should not have attempted to leave Russia under any circumstances. The Italjet company that also used that same motor out of the Gilera Runner 180 SP made a bike called the Italjet Dragster. And the Italjet Dragster was special only because it had the center hub steering, like you might remember from, I believe it was the Kawasaki or the Yamaha Omega chassis, the GT 1000.
GTS 1000.
GTS 1000.
Suzuki, I thought?
Yeah, I can't recall off the top.
Or Yamaha. It might be Yamaha because I think Dean wants one.
And so that is a center hub steering bike right there with some very sophisticated front end and very sophisticated suspension, but also a 180cc two-stroke ripper of a motor. Very, very cool, very fun, neat little bike. And again, two strokes make everything more fun. And that's called the Italjet Dragster. That's a bike that's out there, so our folks at home can see what an Italjet Dragster looks like. So that's that. Pretty happy with that overall.
I feel like I'm going to run into the closet and get the other TV and see if I can make that one work.
I just don't.
Just a mess.
Yeah, I mean, continue trying to get.
It won't even see all of the Wi-Fi.
Well, if we look at Smith's computer over there, we can see what's going on. Right. So
yeah,
that's and actually, I'm about 15 seconds behind on it.
Well,
it's going to be. Yeah, it's okay. It's not the worst thing to ever happen.
No.
Well, David Swearingen's calling in from Toronto, Ohio, and he's having a bourbon and Coke.
Excellent.
Hey, all right. Bourbon.
I'm having a bourbon and bourbon.
Swearingen.
So that must be Jim Beam.
It must be Jim Beam. Yeah, I agree. It's probably Jim Beam and Coke. Yeah. To bring everybody up to speed on what we're going to be up to, we are already getting ready for the AIM Motorcycle Expo and the One Motorcycle Show in Vegas. There has been some questions. I've gotten some email from our podcast listeners asking us, where the hell is this thing? It is in downtown Las Vegas. This is not on the Strip, guys. I must warn you that where this event is happening, not the AIM Expo. The AIM Expo is a big fancy pants event happening in the Las Vegas Convention Center. That is on the Strip, closer to the Strip, closer to the airport, closer to all the things.
No, Smith, that's his porn folder.
But the motorcycle, the One Show, that is normally put on in Portland, that one show is happening in downtown Las Vegas. That's going to be happening at a place called the Western. And the Western,
Open Safari.
even way back in the 60s and 70s, has been a bingo/casino.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty old school. And the property, not abandoned, but pretty dilapidated a long time ago. So I'll bet you they're getting it for a song. I'm very curious to see what they're doing with it. Very, curious how they're going to set this whole thing up. Because, again, it's not going to be 80 degrees there. Vegas in February is still cold.
60.
Yeah, 60 is going to be like, wow, that's great. If
30 at night.
30 at night, 60, 60 in the daytime.
So not pool weather.
Go to that. It's called The One. It's the number one, theonemoto.com.
Somebody said on the chat that Arizona was at 30 today. And
Yeah.
they were down to 20.
You know that our friends Michelle Rodriguez, now Michelle Kowalik, they're in Tanque Verde, and
Alcoholic?
they had snow, real snow. Yeah.
Oh, they're
real snow.
To call back to last episode.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be snow in New Orleans
They must be
during
pissed.
this thing.
I'd be pissed.
And the last time it snowed, this is not a joke. Last time it snowed was the year of Katrina.
Oh, okay.
So-
Is that a joke?
Yeah.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke. If you haven't been to, if you're anywhere within the vicinity of Las Vegas and you want to see a damn good motorcycle show, go to the One Motorcycle Show in Vegas. It is super fun, super cool. When John and I went, it was in Portland where they normally do it. Okay. This is an addition to that schedule.
So-
February 7th and 8th.
Is the one show in Vegas, are they going to have dirt track right there? None of that's actually happening, or is it?
Honestly, I can't tell you.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. What I can tell you from my experience with this particular neighborhood is they got a pretty big parking situation. They got a pretty big parking deck kind of thing.
They have a really big deck.
I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Thor and those guys at the One Show have figured out a way to do shenanigans.
They'll be waving their deck at you.
And having a piece of property in Vegas where you can play around and fool around and do silly shit, that's getting harder and harder to do.
Yeah.
There's very few left big square pieces of property to go have play around in.
A shout out to Kyle Norwood in Middlebury, Indiana, drinking a Bell's Red IPA tonight. And
Wow.
Kyle is the delivery guy for Janice.
For Janice.
Oh, hell
and,
yeah.
And so he drives around, and he has claimed that he's listened to every podcast that Clevelandmoto's ever put out.
Every disgusting moment twice.
Yeah. So
Slow clap, slow clap.
Indeed.
I'm sorry to hear that, Kyle.
I feel bad for you. We're glad we're trying to lift the bar here just a little bit for you. That sort of the idea of going to the One Show, the idea of going to Vegas, because the first couple of days for us, Vegas at the AIM Expo is going to be very corporate. It's going to be very buttoned down. It's going to be going to visit our distributors, going to visit our vendors, seeing the other dealers and all that stuff, and seminars and team building experiences and all that crap. But then the next 2 days are going to be, I think, down and dirty. Because our experience with the One Moto Show is that it is real motorcycle folk. It is not corporate. Yeah. There's not going to be anybody there trying to sell you triple net financing on your latest set of bags for your BMW. It's going to be rowdy, and it usually is pretty rowdy.
Hey, check it out. We have Kurt Edwards and Debbie on.
Hey, Hey, go Team Edwards. We love you guys. We absolutely love you guys. Can't see enough of you guys.
I saw he was sending his Moto Guzzi out to be serviced and to get a little love. So
Right on.
hope that goes well for you, Kurt.
Yeah, hope his ankle gets back
Seems like he's doing better. I haven't talked with him.
on
I
Team
need to
Win.
check in with him.
Yeah,
Speaking of ankles, I was hanging out with brother Tim today. He's coming along nicely.
Speaking of ankles?
coming along nicely. Yeah.
Speaking of vajankles,
What's he? So what's his preferred method? Is he crutching, caning? What's he doing?
No, he's up on both legs right now. I mean, he still has some mobility issues, but he's about. I'm no doctor, but I'm going to say he's 85%.
Did he get titanium rod and screws?
He got some screws, no rod.
Yeah.
But he's got like this piece of string that they put through his ankle. It had like washers on the outside, and it looked like a shoestring because part of it was like sticking out. It was like post-tension concrete. Like they put it through there, and then they like stretched it, and then when the bone grew together, this piece of like string shit is still in his foot.
New technology.
Yeah, right.
Better living through technology.
Crazy.
I love it, man.
I'm not a gynecologist, but I'll take a look at it.
Absolutely take a look at it. So we decided that it's winter. And Renee hasn't fired up her...
We didn't really decide that. It just happened.
It happened. Yeah, we looked around. We noticed an absence of people at the shop and said, it must be winter. So we looked around and we were like, we're completely out of large T-shirts. We're completely out of extra large T-shirts. We're completely out of double extra large T-shirts, as best as I can tell.
It's so weird you bring this up because I was thinking about Renee. I saw somebody making T-shirts. It was a video. I don't even know how it came up. It's like, but I was thinking about Renee making T-shirts, and I'm like, I should send Piper up there to help Renee make T-shirts or something. I think that they would have fun doing that.
It's a lot of fun indeed. I'm telling you, if you haven't done a T-shirt making party, it is kind of fun. It
sounds like Tom Sawyer trying to get a guy to help him paint the fence.
You know what's really fun?
You get
Digging ditches.
You get free T-shirts, all the mistakes.
You know what? You guys are all talking a lot of shit. But for a lot of years, Renee and I made T-shirts in our underwear. With the press and the heater and everything upstairs at the old shop, 100 degrees up there.
Okay, Piper's not going to
right?
Yeah, that's going to get weird.
We had cocktails, we were printing stuff. It was fun. Like, it was a legitimately fun thing to do. It's a fun, it's a fun game. Because you're feeding them into the dryer and, you got to pull the screens and stuff. It is kind of fun.
It's pretty manual.
It is. It definitely
And right now, it's all buried behind my crap. So
this is also true.
Actually, that's not true. That corner's actually pretty.
There's some room in there. So what we need, what we're doing, is we've decided to go out to the people because that's worked good in the past.
To the people.
We're going to do another one. We haven't done it in 10 years. We're going to do a design a logo for Clevelandmoto contest. The rules are, it must be a logo. The rules are, it's got to say the word Clevelandmoto on it. Now, in years past, we have gotten some amazing, your son did some beauties.
Tristan, yeah.
Right? He did a historical license plate. The art that we got, inspirational, absolutely very cool. And some of these logos, they're evergreen. We love them. We absolutely love them to death. But we need some new ones. And Renee initially was like, you should contact Fiverr. Do Fiverr, get somebody to make some art for you for a very small amount of money. I was like, yeah, but then that's like, they don't know us. They don't know our vibe. It's just some poor kid in China.
So Adventure Tourist Northwest said, we need to make some Clevelandmoto underwear.
We do.
Oh, yeah.
Why not? Once we get the screens, we can make whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed what fits in that T-shirt machine. We could do beer koozies. We got molds to do hats. We get all kinds of cool stuff. But we need some stuff. We need some content. We need some things. What we have is great, and we loved it, and it's been around for a long time. I'm sure if you've been around, you've seen this logo. We've beaten this logo like a rented mule. We all love it and think it's great. Greg Huth did some beautiful logos for us with the Spectrum colors. We're ready for some new stuff. So the rule, submit it, JPEG, PNG, however you want to do it, whatever you're most comfortable with. Send it to clevelandmoto@gmail.com. That's where you're sending things. Send them to us. We haven't figured it out yet, but I think we're going to do 5. I want 5 logos. And we're going to do 5 prizes. Now, if you're good, one guy could win all 5 prizes. But otherwise, we're going to do 5 very good prizes.
And I've already submitted the one that looks like the Pornhub logo.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like all these things. With today's modern technology, everybody should be able to give us some cool logos.
Exactly.
And you build it, you send it to us. We will have fun with it. I promise. Tom, it looks like you're on there. I see your little logo up at the top of the screen.
Yeah, it keeps finding me, but it won't load the thing.
All right.
It just,
Okay.
This is what I do for buying cheap TV.
They don't need all
it's-
the
network
details at all.
settings.
We'll just kind of press through.
Sleepy spent an hour figuring all his stuff out here, and we didn't spend 5 minutes
It's okay.
looking
It's
at
not
the
a
TV.
problem. We're just gonna have to have a witness monitor in the future.
Yeah.
It says
Studio
it's
Tom
the
said-
password.
What's that?
All right.
Studio Tom says, where'd it go? Yeah, never mind.
Tom,
Okay, well, when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get to it, you let us know.
it says the wrong password was put in.
Well, the problem is
Okay.
that it's not seeing this network. It's seeing the neighbor's network. Like, I can see all the networks but the one it's supposed to be on.
All right, next.
Anyway.
Next.
Kurt Edwards says he's using his new bone stimulator. Have fun, have fun with that one. Oh, Deb must be helping him.
Oh,
with
is that the
Yes.
horny goat weed I see at like Gomart all the time?
Okay. Next topic. Honda Dax.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Oh, see, now you've got.
Okay.
I told you.
Now you got everybody all boned up.
Okay. Honda Dax. Here's why, and you know, you can throw this up to the folks at home if you'd like to. The Honda Dax, it's now out. People have them. They're appearing in YouTube videos. They are being ridden. They are no longer just an artist's representation of a malnourished Asian person riding it to make the bike look bigger. They are out in the world. They are being ridden by adult-sized humans.
Yep.
Now, my question is, you know, this motorcycle is quite clearly $4,199. And right on Honda's website, it says very clearly a destination charge of $300. Okay? I have it on good authority from looking at a man's receipt today what you're actually going to pay. Now, because we know, and the internet has already told us, that the base price is $41.99, and the internet has already told us on Honda's own website that Honda charges a destination charge of $300. So nobody should bid a number under $4,499, the way this game is played.
Let's round up. 4,500.
That's right. Would anyone like to guess what the actual cost to be able to show up at the Honda dealer, pick the bike up, and put it in your truck without the license plate?
I'll have a guess.
Okay. Anyone like to fire away?
6,500.
$6,500. All right. Anyone else?
5,200.
5,200.
$1.
Anyone?
5,199.
199.
Well, I've seen them advertised for $41.99. So if you add all the stuff, I'm gonna say $51.50.
It's $53.49.
Oof.
Okay.
You guys can figure out who was closest.
Me.
So about $1,200 on top of the advertised MSRP. About 1,200 bones.
So are these dealer markups or are these fees? What are we talking here?
Well, what we're talking about here is, in this particular invoice that I was looking at today, there was a $100 title fee. There was a $250 processing fee. There was a $750 freight fee.
Yikes.
And then there were some other things that were on, and I'm not joking, an EPA fee for the tires and battery, $40. Yeah, kind of weird, man. Kind of weird.
Is this just supply and demand?
No,
Well, that's right. That's why I bumped it up to 6,500. I thought it was like $1,000 dealer markup.
Right.
Because that's what they were doing with the Honda Cubs. I heard
Absolutely.
people paying $6,500 for Honda Cubs, which are essentially the same price in theory.
Yes, and when the monkeys came out, a lot of dealers were adding a market adjustment.
Yeah,
The
right.
market adjustment was not uncommon. The reason for this is that Honda has decided, you know, the Honda method is putting the MSRP on the website. In that MSRP, they're probably figuring that there's 7 or 8 or 9 or 11% there for the dealer in their margin, which is a shame when it's such a light, small dollar amount of bike, right? And then the dealer then has to say, well, in order for me to pay my people and pay the rent and keep the doors open and pay the heat and electric and everything else, I need to make $1,600 when I sell that bike. And if I need to make $1,600 when I sell that bike and Honda is giving me $500, then I need to find $1,100 somewhere else. Now, if somebody comes in and wants to say the website says $41.99, it says $300 destination charge, and that's all I'm paying you, then the dealer is well within their rights to say, I invite you to fuck your hat.
And you ain't to get to no Coke,
That's right.
as they said in Caddyshack.
You can buy one from another dealer.
Yeah.
Now, what I've kind of found in my history is that dealers kind of look at each other's test homework. And they all kind of follow the same rule. And you're lucky if you go into the dealership and you don't have to spend 3 hours talking about, you know, extended warranty coverages, service contracts, road hazard warranties, tire warranties, gap insurance, it can add up real fast because you're there today buying a $41.99 cute little adorable bike. The guy before you was buying a $27,000 sled, right? The guy before you was buying a $27,000 Goldwing or $32,000 Goldwing, and that dealership is in the business of staying in business. And yeah, they do have.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't work for me.
I know it doesn't, and that's fine for you. And that is totally fine for you. And we're not judging anybody based on anything. When I bought my Toyota Tundra pickup truck, the dealer that sold it to me, who was a friend of mine, who promised he wasn't going to give me the 11-step sales process dealer thing, he still tried to get me to buy all of these things. And I said, dude, lay off, man. I thought we were friends. When you came to my shop and bought a motorcycle, I didn't play this game on you. He goes, look, man. He goes, your motorcycle shop, you're the boss. You're in charge. He says, but I got a manager and an owner. And if they don't see me at least trying to sell you all of the above, then I'm going to be in trouble, right? He goes, as it is, if I don't sell you all these things, my commission on this sale is nothing. Okay, that's fine. So now we've established that, yeah, it could cost $53.99. It could cost whatever it costs. But all of that, thank you, Tom. You got that? We'll see if we can. We'll see if we can.
I went the weird way around, so we'll talk about it later.
We haven't found it just yet, so let's find out. So here's my thing now. So now we know $53.99 ish. One shows up in this driveway outside, right here, right now, with no miles on it. Full 1 year, 12 months Honda warranty on it. What would you pay?
$41.99.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll give you the $51.99.
Okay, anyone?
I'm not doing knowing that the TNT 135 is, it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that.
Right.
It's
But
not apples to apples.
It's not, but at the same time, the TNT is faster and better suspension.
So you're not a customer.
Not
Yeah.
at 52.
He's not in this game.
$4,000 or under, I'd probably, because it is such a sexy, nostalgic bike. I'm good at $4,000 probably.
Hey, take off your hat right now.
That's fine. The reason we're asking because we've got people in this room that represent a lot of different stuff. And the one thing that we all kind of like is we all have looked at the Dax and we've all kind of said, that's a cool looking bike, right? It's a bike I like. It's a bike that I appreciate the look of that bike.
I don't think it has the same panache as the Monkey or the Cub. And this is coming from a biased standpoint because as a kid I had a Monkey, so that's what I wanted.
That's what you want.
And then
exactly.
I had a long history with CT90s too, so I wanted the Hunter Cub.
Well, how much do you have into your Monkey? Roughly. You don't have to give an exact.
I don't know, frankly.
Really?
Because, I bought it new at full price. In
8,200.
2019 when it came out.
And what was full price in 2019?
3,900, I think.
Yeah.
See, now that's a
$39.99,
realistic price, man.
Well, it's only 200 lower than this.
But I've put upgraded parts on it and stuff. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
Mrs. McElfresh is watching the podcast.
Oh, really? That's pretty
Oh,
fun.
I'm glad she didn't see
I
all
think
the
Merritt
stuff you
said
just
she
got
wanted
done
to watch
doing.
it too. Yeah. Yeah. So
Those
yeah,
aren't
I'm
pillows, John.
Hey Tom, can you go ahead and turn that TV off? Maybe when we turn it back on again,
Yeah.
it'll source out because it's not sourcing out to my
Nah.
device right now. So yep. So go.
I'll fix it later.
So one's in the driveway.
So you said you go 51.
Yeah.
You said 41, right? Anyone else trying to chime in? Anyone else
Johnny?
care?
52?
Yeah. Yeah.
Son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
I'm just curious. I want to know what what will the customer tolerate?
What will the market bear?
What will the market bear?
Is it gloss black, and what shape is the headlight?
I mean, what would I pay for? I was interested in it at $41.99
Right.
for a Dax, but I'll probably just have to wait.
And it might come down to that. It absolutely might come down to that. And I have no problem with waiting, and that's fine. You wait around a couple 3 years, you get a really kick-ass motorcycle for half price. That's how the world works.
Plus, you don't know. They might come out with some really more interesting colors. I mean,
Well, here's the interesting. Do you
They
think
did that
the
with
Grom wheelie kids are going to get into them because of the big cushy seat that's actually fun to sit on?
I don't know.
Because if they get into them, then that means they'll be selling a lot of them, and then a lot of them will turn up used.
That's
Broken.
true. That's
Well,
true.
yeah, broken probably, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does the Dax come with the semi-auto transmission, or is it like the Monkey with the regular?
I couldn't tell
4-speed?
by looking at it. I really couldn't tell.
I haven't followed them that closely. The Dax.
I haven't either. I can let's take a look at the specs real quick and see what they say about it. It's a semi-automatic transmission.
Okay.
So that's the deal. And it has ABS now. ABS is now standard equipment. There's no, you can't buy a Dax without it. This year, the color combinations on the Dax are your choice of the light blue that we saw at AMA Vintage Days, the very powdery blue, for lack of a better term, and the what they call it pearl gray. So there's pearl gray, and then there's pearl glittering blue. If Sleepy wants to throw that up to the consumers at home, they can see that, check it out.
Yep.
But yeah, there's the pearl glittering blue, which is a very Honda color. I remember that from the trails. And then that pearl gray is a color we didn't get in this country hardly ever. So I think it's kind of neat. I actually kind of like it better in that.
They're going to
pearl
come
gray.
out with a red one. I mean, they're going to come out.
Of
with
course
candy,
they are.
You know,
and they're
like-
coming out with a yellow one too.
If they don't come out with like the Honda red, white, and blue with the gold rims, they're stupid. I would pay $5,200 for that.
Yeah.
I would figure out a way to do it.
And that's an excellent point too, because we all know that historically speaking, Honda generally keeps that in reserve. Can you light that up, Tom?
I wish they'd go back
Say
to
it
the
again?
pressed steel wheels like the old ones.
We have some listeners making fun of how we look.
How we look?
Hey, yeah, we got a face for radio.
Yeah,
we
it's
do have
about
a face
time.
for radio. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, nobody. Yeah, there's a reason that we haven't been picked up by one of the major networks a long time ago. Yeah, guess what?
Yeah, take a look at yourself in the mirror, buddy, at
I
home.
am modeling next week for Piaggio the new Snake line.
The Snake. Yes, you can model the Snake.
They wanted portly Americans to pass the snake
to have the new
snake line.
The new Snake line.
I think Tom does look like a 50-something Harry Potter looking type.
Oh, that's great.
Oh boy, that's amazing.
I did not see the comment. I will only take it that that's what it was. When somebody's trying to trade a bike
Expecto
into you,
disappointment.
when somebody's trying to trade a bike into you, and the entire bike doesn't fit in the camera shot, you might say like, "Hey man, you know, what the hell kind of bike is this?" But when somebody's trying to trade a bike in at your shop and the bike is a 49cc and it doesn't fit in the camera shot, well, then that's weird. And so I have thrown it up to my screen. You can throw it up to the other screen. This is the bike that somebody's trying to trade in at my shop right now. For people that like to watch a train wreck in live action, this is a Honda Ruckus. It is a Honda Ruckus that has just been attacked by somebody's parts catalog, and they have missed no opportunity to spend money on a 49cc automatic twist and go style scooter. You know, they've done everything that you can do. If you looked at a Ruckus and said, "What is the worst possible thing I can do to this bike?"
Well, I see the frame extensions, the aluminum frame extensions.
The ground front fender.
12.5-inch extension.
My.
12.5 inches, and not a single more horsepower. Right? Talk about putting all the money in the wrong basket. Lowered, stretched. The seat is lowered. The sub seat thing has been gone. Instead of the normal handlebars, has the multi-piece, multi-configuration drop handlebars. The speedometer is now where your foot goes. I moved to a different picture.
I did have the opportunity to work on something very much like that. Came through the shop with me, and the good thing about it was they got rid of the Ruckus motor and they put a GY 6 150 in it.
Yeah.
And that thing was fun. It was because I remember taking it in the parking lot over at Blackbird.
Yep.
And I was like, "Rrr," and I was like, "Oh, wow, the clutch is slipping." Nope, the
No.
back tire was spinning.
Back tire spinning.
Yeah.
The end result of this monstrosity, this thing. One, I should remind everybody, this particular motorcycle, this particular scooter, wasn't a crashed bike. This isn't a bike that somebody had a bad DUI experience on.
I thought it was on fire when you put the picture up. Like if somebody had put it out and brought it in.
This wasn't a bike that somebody had a bad day on and had to recover. This is a bike that somebody bought brand new, and before they had made their second payment, they had gone on to some catalog somewhere and ordered thousands of dollars worth of garbage. And then they proceeded to bolt it all on. Now, because the customer who's trying to trade this bike in at my shop didn't include a side image of the bike, I was able to find one on the internet of not his exact bike, but of the same company's stuff. And I understand people on Battle Scooter feel very strongly about things, but what I can tell you is, looking at this image, I think this picture was taken in Florida. I'm almost...
Quick comment.
Florida.
Quick comment says, I've never pictured Pete looking like this, like he does.
Oh, really? Well, there you go. That's what Pete
That's
looks
right.
like.
I'm this handsome.
I know. I was gonna say nobody thought there was that
Nobody
much
had any
sexiness
idea.
in the thing over there.
Nobody had any idea. So, yeah, when you look at this bike, zero part of my body likes this. Like, the other parts of my body are the parts that are connected to my wallet. And what they see is that exhaust is touching the ground right now.
It certainly will be anytime you make a right-hand turn.
There is no right-hand turn available on this machine. Why you would take a bike that is from 2024, that you haven't paid almost any of the money you owe on it off, and do all this to it so you could have this and enjoy it, is beyond me.
Well, he's got the drag slick and then the suspension lowered like that, so he can't wheelie off the line when he's running quarter miles.
It's been called a Camaro scooter.
When that 3.1 horsepower hits?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've never had a Ruckus go over 45. I don't know what I mean, your mileage may vary, but I've never had a Ruckus go 45. And I'm going to assume that from the factory, with Japanese engineering, is better than this. So this, to me, probably goes slower than 45.
Probably makes a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because the Yoshi... Is this one got the Yoshi, or is this one just got the weird chrome...
Tom, does it really matter whose name is on the side of that?
It depends on how much money they spent.
Okay, all right,
That's
fair
fair.
enough. But I mean, it doesn't, because they all kind of look the same way.
Oh, yeah.
They all look like that.
Yeah, there's a very,
That pipe.
Yeah.
I am.
It's like an ice bear where you took off one of the rear wheels.
And that answers the...
Now we're going to get to the next step in this question.
Okay.
Okay.
For anybody that doesn't know, an ice bear is the Chinese equivalent of the, they make.
Well,
it's a company that makes.
It's the
knockoffs.
easiest way to save yourself $4,000 off of building one of these things out of a Ruckus.
Okay.
I mean, if you're going to take a Ruckus and take it all apart and crap it up with a bunch of junk, you might as well just start with junk to begin with.
Exactly.
So you saw that bike I just threw up. Now you can throw up yourself when you see the actual real ice bear the way it is. You don't have to change it. It's just that. It's nobody's forcing you to do something different. You can just buy it that way.
It's not a Yoshi pipe; it's a douchey pipe.
It's all of it. Okay.
One of the
And
comments.
it's still 49 cc's, so you can still ride it with your 13th DUI, right? So it still caters to the right market. It has the pre-chubified tires on it, and it's $1,799. It's $1,100 full dollars less than the base price of the Ruckus was. And you don't go to hell for destroying a Ruckus.
It's already been
It's
destroyed.
pre-destroyed. So if you were thinking of spending $5,100, because that's what he spent on that Ruckus, what I will just call the Fuckus.
So was he coming in there thinking that he had a vehicle valued at about $5,100?
He was.
Poor guy.
It's out in the driveway right now.
Yeah.
And what would you pay for it? It's in the driveway right now.
Actually, how much would you pay me?
Well, the point being that he did believe that he had a $5,100 vehicle, because in his mind, he had a Ruckus he spent $3,600 on by the time he got it out of the Honda dealer, and he had spent another $1,400 on the parts, and he wasn't even going to charge me for his expert labor of assembling it all.
Oh.
And I said, do you have all the original components? And he goes, about 95% of them. Which makes me wonder, how did he lose 5% of the stuff in less than 500 miles of riding the bike, right?
Right.
Are those pieces that just broke off because of shoddy assembly or construction? But that's, my point is, maybe sometimes you don't need to buy a bike and fuck it over. Maybe you can just buy one that's pre-fucked over for you.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what this is.
I feel the same way about Hayabusas.
That feels like most of the bikes I've owned.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Bagel says there are no thousands that'll make that bike go faster.
No, there are no.
Oh,
right,
no,
right,
no,
right,
no,
right.
no.
And that is the funny thing too, is we have sold a number of bikes. When we get bikes traded into the shop or brought into the shop, that we're just like, yeah, man, this is a Chinese bike. It's got bad problems. We don't even want to get involved with it. And they're like, well, I'm abandoning it here. And they don't tell us they're abandoning it here. They play the game and pretend like they're going to pay a bill and come and pick it up later. And then after about a year, we give up on them. And we just go, they've abandoned it here. But usually that's after we put $200 or $300, $400 worth of work into it. So then our only thing is to lick our wounds and then get rid of that thing. But it doesn't have a title. It may have been pre-stolen. I don't want to get involved with it. So usually I'll just punt it along at AMA Vintage Days as parts or what have you. And almost every time that we've done this at AMA Vintage Days, it's been a young fellow who shows up and says, I want that motor for my Ruckus.
Yep.
This GY6 150cc clone motor.
Yes.
And that's what he wants for his Ruckus. That's what they are looking for. And so that's fine. And if you're going to do it that way,
it's quite transformative.
and you can buy a 10-year-old Ruckus right now for $600, game on.
And a junk Chinese scooter with a GY6 150 in it.
Or you could buy a brand new GY16 150 for like $225.
Oh yeah, no, the cheap end GY6s are
Box and a motor, man.
Yeah,
right.
And all
you can either buy now. I will say this. I think the advantage to buying a GY6 motor in the frame of a scooter that's already there, because then you know that you have the stator, you have the voltage regulator, you have the ignition, you have the keys, you have everything that at one point ran that bike.
The most important part of the thing you've just said is that you have the wiring harness. Because as someone who has attempted to put a GY6 into one of these monstrosity Ruckuses with a stock computer, you don't.
You don't. And that's the trick, is to buy the salvaged or scavenged or broken.
I remember that being one of the challenges when I worked on that one, that making the fuel pump work, because the GY6 just wants a drip, just wants gravity feed or whatever.
Well, you can use the vacuum pump. Okay, perfect example. You have a black and white BMS in the back of the shop right now.
Yeah,
that bike is the perfect donor bike for Ruckus conversion because it includes the vacuum operated fuel pump.
Vacuum operated fuel pump.
Yeah, the Ruckus has like a stepper electric.
It has an electric motor. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And so I think that's the way, because then you just need to strip all those items off of the Chinese bike and put them onto the Ruckus chassis. The less you try to use these parts that are existing on that Ruckus, the better your life is going to be.
And the reality is what you're using out of the Ruckus is the front frame, because by the time you buy the NCY front forks and the disc brake conversion kit and everything else, the only thing you're buying is that front frame section. Yeah. And it's not worth it. Like,
and if you really suck, and I mean, if you suck hard, if you suck super hard, you can get the trike version.
Oh god!
For an extra $1,000.
Well, it's
right?
I
love. Hold on, the trike version has a 150.
Oh, I laugh. I laugh at Ice Bear left, right, and center, but they do make the best ugly Ruckus conversion ever.
Okay, no, they make a ugly Ruckus conversion. Because I'm going to say, in order to say best, that means you've tried a grip of them.
We were talking about the DAX, and my friend Don Slicker down at Mid-Ohio bought the Ice Bear CT 125.
Yes.
And he's done quite a bit to it. He had to do some stuff.
Oh,
but he really likes it. I mean, and I rode it. It was an electric start, 125. Like
it's the best way to build a custom CT.
And how much, what do they call it? Like $1,300 or something?
Well, I think he got that down there from somebody for like $1,000 or something. But it was basically new, and he had to, like, the swing arm bolt was messed up and it was painted. He did a bunch of little things to it, but he sent me a picture of it and it looks really nice after putting like a Honda decal on it, and making it look like a real Honda, and he loves it.
Hey, Sleepy.
Yes, sir.
I know you've prepared this in your brain and that you can do this on command.
Sure.
What did you have to do to your Tao to make it okay?
Disassembled it. Reassembled it with Loctite on everything.
Yep.
Changed the Honda Grom axles all the way around. New chain, new sprockets, because the sprockets were cheese. And after that, it ran. It did all right. Until after Mid-Ohio and a monsoon, when water touched the inside of the frame somehow, because there's obviously holes, I noticed like the little orange stains coming out of the frame.
Rust was pouring out of it.
So that's when that bike just moved along on its way.
Liza picked up
The aluminum was rusting.
Yeah.
The Choluminum, yeah, the unique alloy. Liza picked up one of the Amigos, which is the Trail 70 of conspicuous or suspicious origins. She picked one up, and they're selling those for $786 on AliExpress. And she, I think she would be available for comment of how many hours of time and dollars of parts have gone into that vehicle to not get it up to 40-year-old Honda Trail standards, right? I appreciate that. And if you do, if that's what it is, my thing is, if I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy a Coleman freaking 200 Coleman,
I'm going to buy a $5,300 Dax.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
We know where this is going. So.
Yeah, I would definitely go with the Dax. I would probably not spend $786 to have an Amigo Rocky 125 mini trail bike. That just to me seems like, I have only so much time when I could be riding that I'm willing to not be riding and dicking around with something awful. And when people are standing around going, if we only reinvent this entire thing, we can make a sidecar out of this work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't want to reinvent the entire thing. I don't want to spend the hundreds of hours engineering that the guy who sold it should have done. I want to just go out and ride the damn thing so I can get back and have a beer and,
I spend enough of my week fixing everything.
Fixing everybody else's shit,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to fix everybody else's shit
I
and then
open up my
fix my own shit too.
I open up my garage door and I look at it and go, well, the buddy runs.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Give me a bike that runs. That's what I want every single time.
And speaking of that, too, I had just a bone stock Ruckus.
Sure.
And I rode the wheels off that thing. I think I paid $1,500 for
Right.
it. I rode it for 2 or 3 years. I think I sold it when I bought the Monkey.
Right on.
And I sold it for more than I bought it for. And, down at Mid-Ohio, that was a perfect zip-around bike down there. It does, like you said, doesn't go over about 32 miles an hour on flat, level ground.
Best you get after you play with the variator a little bit is about 35 is what we found.
Yeah, I changed
Anything
the
over that, you
variators
don't get it.
And I put a different shock on the rear.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, that's smart money because it's a Honda. You just ride it.
Yep.
And it's going to run and it's going to last. And you'll get your money out of it when you want to unload it.
And the less you interfere with it, the longer it's going to give you.
Yep.
And that holds true with any of that stuff. We've got people that bought their first bike and they're like, yeah, look, I got this Honda CB 125 motorcycle. And I'm like, that's a great bike. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, but I want to make it go faster. Don't want to make it go faster.
When I realized it
Right,
wasn't
wait,
fast enough is when I was barrel racing it at Mid-Ohio. I was like, what the fuck am I doing out here?
We have a lot of friends that are moped enthusiasts.
But you could have been out there all day long.
Yeah, you
could've
could have for sure.
Yeah.
On a
You
gal-
could have
on a
won-
gallon of gas, too.
Right. You could have won most laps, right?
No, that would have been Haley Bell.
Sure.
Oh my
Because
God.
she would just run the bike out of gas and come in and grab another bike.
Yes.
Oscar's SR 125 she's definitely put the most miles on that thing.
Well, I think it got heat cycled.
Yeah.
I think Oscar's bike got legitimately heat cycled because every time I'd go out there, she's hanging it out. And she is straight up hanging it out, like
That-
full back end sliding out.
That girl came from the UK proper, like
Yeah.
hard badass, like motorcycle thing. She gets there and she looks around. We had her firing fireworks off. She barrel race, pit bike race was She took every chance to do anything that was offered to her full bore.
Because she was traveling and she wanted to not insult the people around her that are from a different culture than she is.
yeah, but she
And get the
nailed
full
everything.
Mid-Ohio,
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Experience.
I loved it. Like she was like just into anything, man. Like let's do it.
Fire a gun, rob the Conoco at the end of the street.
Whatever.
When we
It's
pulled
perfect.
out duct tape and
Yeah.
started assembling our own fireworks, she was in.
Yeah. I mean, she became fireworks friendly fast.
Fast.
Super fast.
She was like, "Do it again, more."
Right. And that was, but that's great.
Yeah.
That's what you should do. You should embrace foreign cultures.
It was so
When you
cool.
go somewhere and somebody's like, hey, well, this is kind of what we do here at 1 o'clock. The guns come out or whatever.
Yeah.
Then
When
you're
in
like,
Rome.
Okay, the guns come out.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, when in Rome. Exactly. That's what it is. I think it's great. I'm a big fan. Next news item. The watching Harley-Davidson claim ownership or deny ownership of LiveWire is like watching a millionaire who has one very successful son and one very jail time troubled son. His paternity is always in question depending on which offspring you're talking about. And when it comes time for the United States government to hand out a very large grant for electric vehicle manufacturing and development, Harley-Davidson grabbed LiveWire with both arms, gave it a giant hug, and signed the birth certificate.
Hello, son.
We sent you out on your own to see how you could do. We kicked you out of the nest for a moment just so you could fly. And now we welcome you back with this Laurel and Hardy handshake, right? It's hilarious.
Morons.
Yeah, it's hilarious how quickly they did the switcheroo.
Oh, yeah.
Because as a shareholder in that company, I can tell you, I got the letters, I got the emails about like, we understand your anger, we understand where you're coming from of this non-traditional thing that we tried to do, but please forgive us. We've remedied our situation, and now Kimco owns 49% of that company, or what have you. Right?
What we've come to realize is that at the end of the day, we love fucking money.
Wait, Kimco's involved?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Americans don't come up with shit on their own. They have to rely on foreigners.
With LiveWire?
I'll help you. The LiveWire was a Mission motorcycle that was purchased by Harley-Davidson, intellectual property, the same way they did with Eric Buell and other things in the history of motorcycles and stuff. Okay, not shockingly. Nobody at Harley-Davidson sat around with a pen and a pencil and engineering stuff and computers and designed the LiveWire from the ground up.
I never suspected that they did.
Okay, we didn't think they did.
I just didn't know Kimco was.
Kimco got involved recently because when LiveWire went on its own without access to the Harley-Davidson bank account, they needed money. And Kimco, being a very large, very solvent company that has a lot of money to throw around, said, you know what? How much money do you need exactly? And they put in some money. Why? Because they, too, want to be the recipient of a very large United States government grant.
Yeah.
Because Kimco has learned that it's nice to have money to spend when you're developing things for other people. Now, the intellectual property and everything else, that's all still LiveWire. That's the whole thing. Now, the part that kind of got my attention was the absolute failure that this company has experienced in the past 1 year. Now, you guys may remember during year of our Lord 2024 that we talked about LiveWire's brand new, more affordable electric motorcycle. And this was the...
Is it called the Land?
No, it's not. It is the that's the Del Mar. Okay, so the important thing to know, the S2 Del Mar was designed to be a far more affordable option than their $27,000 Lightning.
How many teams of those have they sold?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because historically speaking, when you're a company the size of Harley-Davidson and you launch a new product, the very first time, you've got all the media involved, here's this brand new product, you would usually expect in your first year, the year of the launch, to do several thousand of these motorcycles. And in the shareholder meeting and the resultant information about the numbers of sales, pre-Del Mar, pre the more affordable Harley-Davidson LiveWire, they sold 50 bikes. Now, that's not for the state of Wisconsin. That's not for the Midwest. That's not for the United States. That's for planet Earth.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeesh.
50.
Are those out in the front of the dealership, or are they kind of in the
We don't
back?
know. We know that Harley will admit to having sold 50. Now, if they picked their 50 worst dealers and forced each dealer to buy one, which they have done in the past, if they've said, hey, Mr. Dealer, you could either take 15 Softails or one LiveWire, they've done that in the past too. It doesn't say that they put 50 of these into the hands of customers with warranty activations and registrations. I couldn't find those numbers. I tried. I could not find them. But that was 50 in 2023. But in 2024, they launched a whole new bike. So now they don't just have one model of bike you can buy. Now they have several. Okay? A whole new platform, a more affordable platform. This year, they admit that they've sold or put out 99. So an entire launch of a whole thing, and I mean the media launch on this was huge.
That's a 100% increase, isn't it?
It is.
That's
in
wonderful.
fact, it's 98% if you look at their charts.
That's wonderful.
It's really great. Okay? It's really, really great. Now, let's talk about their consolidated operating income loss. Because in 23, they lost $25 million. That's not their profit.
That's unsustainable.
Well, it's going to have to be sustainable, Pete, because in 24 they lost $26.5 million.
Well, so see, they're doing better.
They're doing better at losing money. They've managed to really kick it up a notch.
Well, but the truth here is they don't have to sell those bikes because they got a very large check. Selling bikes isn't important.
And
Getting
this
the very
is
large
what
check
we
is
have
the important
learned,
part.
as we've talked about this in the podcast many times, when we are consumers of media here, and we read about the new ARC electric motorcycle that, you know, this is going to be the best thing. It's 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. It's going to give 180 miles on a range on a charge. And we're like, yeah, this has got the best thing. This is all the stuff. Talk to me about it when it's at a dealership and I can buy it.
I worked for a company that survived solely on new capital investment.
Yep.
The company itself and what they were doing sounded wonderful. We're going to make plastic out of soybeans and blah, 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 blah. And it was a whole shit show. And we're going to do in-mold coating. And we do all these fun things. And we're really going to take off pretty soon. And they were losing money.
Oh, yeah.
Really badly. But it was attractive enough that new people, they could kept just suckering new people in and keep investing. And that's how that company ran. And that's what's happening with LiveWire.
I'll go you one better than that and one bigger than that, bigger than Harley-Davidson. Who took $10 billion in money to build a factory?
General Motors.
Nope.
Well, no, they did.
Well, they did.
I mean,
They gave
don't tell me I'm wrong.
They gave
I live in Ohio.
Oh yeah, they gave
did.
$10 billion to Ford to build Blue Oval City in
Yep.
down in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Why do you have to give a multi-billion-dollar company billions of dollars to bribe them to build anything? But this is the same thing.
Called
you're
corporate
looking to buy
welfare.
for. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's the promise of a better future.
So they got a $10 billion payday. They don't have to sell a single battery.
So I was trying to figure out where LiveWire was making their money.
Apparently, the American government.
Capital investors. People just keep investing.
They're selling the black T-shirts.
Exactly.
LiveWire. Their T-shirts are white.
Oh, okay. They're selling T-shirts.
Fact check me on that one. They're
lightning blue with that weird
turns
Dixie
out they
Cup
have
logo
one other
thing.
product.
Oh,
It's not just the LiveWire. It's not just the Del Mar.
Oh, bullet
They
belts.
have what's called a Stasic.
Oh,
And a
shit.
Stasic
that
is
sounds
a
like
children's
a medical device.
It's a children's electric bicycle.
Yeah. It's like a Strider bike.
It's
but
like a
you
Strider.
use
It doesn't
like
have any pedals.
Use like a drill
Well,
battery.
I think they had this. Well, no, they had the battery. You're talking about the battery. They have a kick bike they had last year at Mid Ohio that Harley Davidson was selling, or LiveWire was selling.
Okay, it's called a Stasic.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
It was-
it's called a Stasic. And this is one of those things when you're like, okay, well, Chris, you're only allowed to have 5 cards in your hand, Chris. But I'm not going to tell you how many dice you can have, right? Well, why the hell do those two things have anything to do with each other? I'm allowed to have 5 cards in my hand, but you can have a full pocket full of dice. Well, if we're counting how many dice we have, that's important. But if we're counting how many cards we have, then that's not going to help me one bit. So it turns out that to give some positive numbers to the shareholders, Harley-Davidson was padding the deck with these, and you're going to hate me now, 2-wheeled vehicles. Now, if it's 21 inches long and it has a maximum weight capacity of 75 pounds, I think it might be a bit of a stretch to call that a 2-wheeled vehicle.
Well, how many wheels does it have?
2.
Exactly. So,
Case in point.
Now, here's where it's going to get worse. It's a two-wheeled, eco-friendly electric vehicle
again, they got you on a technicality. They're
for
not wrong.
children.
Yeah.
It counts.
Yeah. That's
Do you know how many Stasics two-wheeled electric vehicles that they sold in 2023? The answer is 7,231. Oh, those are real numbers. But even then, even when you're stacking the deck, Harley manages to fuck it up. Because this year their sales dropped 52% of the Stasic Child's electric toys. Why?
Everybody bought one.
Well, because other players in the industry, a lot of dads decided they didn't want to spend $600 so their kid could have a toy they were going to outgrow as soon as
$600
they learned how to pedal and balance.
Some of those things are like pushing $2,000. I think 600.
Did it have the Harley-Davidson logo on it?
I'm gonna correct myself just for fun that the Stasic is I'll come up with it here. Yeah, $1,049. However, you go to the 18, that's $1,650.
Yeah.
And then the 20-inch for the full-size children is $2,599.
Wow.
Okay? Meanwhile, even KTM
I was going to
is
say that.
doing their own Stasic that is curiously half as much money as the Harley-Davidson one, the LiveWire one. Okay? Ouch. There's also a fleet of Chinese competitors, because all it is an electric motor, and including Chinese competitors that are actually designing the vehicle to use your DeWalt battery,
Yep.
or to use your Ryobi battery, or your Makita battery that you already own.
Ego.
Your ego. This is what happens. Now, going back to Harley's numbers and why it's so disgusting to everybody here, that they have lost that part of the company, LiveWire, that went from 8 million to 4 million. Like that. Now, she can't stay around. Last year she lost 14.6 million. This year she lost 22.7 million. That's pretty scary numbers until you look at Harley-Davidson itself. And now, when you look at Harley-Davidson itself, holy crap, do things get scary. Because now we have a company that, in my opinion, has played the shell game so long that even they don't know where their money is. And if you read everything from their shareholders meeting, all the notes and all the screens from the shareholders meeting, they're going to remind you that it's not so bad. They changed their projected sales figures. They said, we realized things got bad in 2023, and so we didn't come in at 60% lower than the number of bikes we thought we would sell. In the third quarter, we reassessed and gave ourselves a lower target to hit. Isn't that great?
Nice.
I thought that was really impressive.
Move those goalposts.
They just moved the goalposts so they could hit their goals. Nope, still came up 23% short. So even when you're stacking the decks, even when you're fixing your own game, they still came up short. It is awful. But 23 to 24, they lost over $100 million. Now, when you lose $100 million, I didn't expect that you would go out and buy $350 million worth of shares.
Buyback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what they did.
Yeah.
So a company that's lost $100 million bought $350 million share buyback.
So
And they paid out $65 million in dividends. So this point being, everything's
A tax scam?
$100 million loss. Yeah.
So did the price of their shares go down,
Yes.
and that's why they bought them all back,
Yeah.
or bought back as
Yes.
much as they could? I mean, that
They bought
kind
back
if you're
it-
going to
of
work,
makes
So-
sense if you got the cash.
If
I
you
mean,
have the
if
cash
you're
to
going
do
to
it,
work,
but
if you're
if
going
you've
to
had
work your
100
investors, this is the way to do it.
But if you had $100 million in losses, it seems like a bad time to spend $350 million. Except for
Or
when
a
it's
good
not.
time when the stock goes down.
Right, exactly. So that's exactly what's happening right now.
Man, it's a shame the FTC doesn't work anymore.
Well, I was pretty impressed. Sleepy can throw this up to the big screen, of course. BMW, on the other hand, showed up, and BMW broke their own goal, their own record. The hell with setting the goalposts. BMW came out fighting and sold 210,408 motorcycles on the planet. And that's pretty cool. BMW is doing very well. BMW's selling a whole lot of bikes.
68,000 GS or their GS.
Their prime bike,
That's always been their number one
the
best
number
seller.
one
Yeah.
selling bike, is killing it. And what I think is very, very interesting about that is Harley-Davidson sold 123,000. This is the first time that any of us can sit around this table and say that BMW motorcycles has sold double what Harley-Davidson has.
Sure, but how many T-shirts has BMW sold this year?
Again,
No, they sold $2,000 climb suits.
but I can also tell you that BMW didn't suffer a $130 million loss, right?
Suckers.
So
Yeah.
wouldn't BMW have more of a world market, whereas Harley-Davidson has less
Their
of a world
biggest
market?
emerging markets for Harley are
Right now.
Southeast Asia,
Southeast Asia and Pacific.
and
So-
Harleys
Pacifics.
are pretty big in Europe.
Yeah,
But I don't. I got to
Americans
imagine,
can't
and I'm
afford
just
Harleys.
speculating, but I got
that's
to
fine.
imagine that the attractiveness of a Harley-Davidson is a whole lot less than an established BMW who's been in Southeast Asia,
Yeah.
Europe and stuff like that. So I would argue that they probably have a larger market base
Right.
outside of the U.S.
Yeah.
than
Well, I mean,
I think
Harley-Davidson.
Germany they sold 28,000 GSs or something like
Yeah.
that.
It's
and
it's
28 Harleys.
huge.
well,
Harley-Davidson definitely a few years ago. That's why right now.
Are we counting the Harley Davidsons being sold in India?
Well, this
that's the question.
these are part of these numbers.
Yeah.
And it's bigger than you think it is. So
And that also includes the QJ305 that
That's
they're
what I'm-
selling as
that's
the,
what I was alluding
Harley
to.
Street.
and remember that Harley-Davidson recently closed a factory here in the United States that made these motors for Harley-Davidson and sent all those jobs, sent all that work.
After they got the federal government's incentive to open the factory.
That's correct.
Yep.
And then sent all that work to Asia, where those motors that they said we will these motors that we build in this factory, we're never going to put Asian built motors in these motorcycles, and these are their biggest motorcycles, and now they're building those engines in Asia, in Asian factories, and Harley-Davidson, according to this, Harley-Davidson's had gone up to about 14 or 15% of their model sales being in Asian markets, which is their highest percentage they've ever had for their split of their particular company. Now, yes, it's absolutely true that Harley-Davidson is not a big name in foreign countries, but I can promise you that in India, Thailand, and these places that are emerging markets, and even in China, that having a Harley-Davidson is a very cool thing.
Like having a Bentley.
It is.
Well, it's
it
the
really is.
what's the old song? "Want to be Americano"?
Well, yeah,
There
absolutely.
you go.
But
Want to be Americano.
And everywhere I've ever traveled, people have always said,
in America, America.
yeah, everywhere I've ever traveled, people have said, man, I'd love to have a Harley someday.
Harley Davidson and
You know, it's
Wrangler blue
aspirational.
jeans.
It's aspirational, but
But to build your sales numbers on something like that is,
to build your sales number on children's electric bicycles,
well, hey,
right? Okay,
they're scraping around.
they're scraping around, right?
You gotta
Can we
justify those numbers
technically
to Wall Street, man? Come on.
Can we sell 10,000 of these and pad our sales? Because we sold 50 last year. We sold 50 actual real electric motorcycles last year. For the whole country, from a company the size of Harley-Davidson, we sold 50. Okay, we got to do something about that because we're about to take a $28 billion check from the United States government. So we can't have it be for 50 bikes. So you pad the numbers. You say we sold 10,000 electric vehicles last year. Well, there goes Timmy on one of them. You know?
Oop, he
And
fell
the
down.
American taxpayer might have a problem to think that they're spending all that money and they counted Timmy's little toy as a congratulations pat on the back.
I'm just shocked they haven't bought Power Wheels at this point.
Well, but also we do know that little device was not an American-made product. That's not made at a Harley-Davidson factory by a Harley-Davidson worker.
At the end of the day, though, there's not many people drilling down on it like you are.
Well, of course. And
So-
that's exactly right. That's
So
exactly
you've got
Yep.
legislators that are saying, all right, well, they sold 10,000. I guess they're going up.
They're
not
more
drilling into it.
concerned right now about the PFAS inside the children's ATVs and quads and mini bikes and making it illegal to sell children's 50cc, 80cc, and 125cc bikes in your state because they're concerned your child might eat his dirt bike.
Yeah.
And we can't have kids eating
I mean,
dirt bikes that have forever chemicals. in them.
forever chemicals are forever.
But he's allowed to have a 357
Of course.
Magnum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
constitutional carry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So not even allowed to charge tax on those. So that's an interesting thing to me. When I looked at BMW's success, absolute success this year, and we see a lot of motorcycle companies that are not having success this year, and BMW has pulled out a big win. They've pulled out a massive win.
This is the question we were talking about before, though, because the new Piaggio USA president is from BMW USA. You said, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the question: is why did he bounce over to Piaggio if BMW's having such a banner year? What's the impetus for this?
I have absolutely no idea. There's
And the next biggest question we're both going to ask is this going to bleed into Piaggio turning into a barn burner?
BMW did 210,000 bikes last year. Would anyone like to guess how many Royal Enfield did?
Oh God.
600.
Yeah.
Well, no,
600,000?
worldwide.
Royal Enfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did just 200,000 in India alone.
857,000.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez, oh man.
Oh
dude.
yeah.
Okay? So time to screw your hat on a little differently than it might have been on before, boys.
Yeah.
Because we're patting BMW on the back, a company that we all respect, a company that we know is very good at what they do, for achieving that 210,000 mark. And we go, Royal Enfield, remember? It was kind of the butt of a joke, right?
Right.
857,000.
Yeah.
857,000. Now that is, by the way, that's a record. 2024, that is a record for them. We talk about motorcycle companies, KTM, et cetera, that are having huge problems right now. I am starting to have this weird feeling like for some people it's going really well, and for some people it's actually go out of business time. And there's not a lot in the middle anymore. And when I see a number like that, and I'm just like, 110,000 motorcycles, by the way, in 1 month.
Jesus.
In 1 month.
Well,
their October, they had a really good October.
So that means that the Royal Enfield dealers are going to get 110% more inventory now.
You know
for
what?
floor plan.
The thing about that is,
at least
that would scare me.
Yeah.
Is usually, you have a record year like that where you sold 850,000 motorcycles.
Yeah.
What's going to happen the next year? Are you selling so many that eventually nobody's
saturated the market?
You've oversat like that 1 year you sold a shit ton.
Well,
but the next few years are going to be slim.
I'd want to see where the numbers broke down at, because if you're talking about a company like India or a country like India where you have billions of people,
Yeah.
800,000 is nothing.
So they say, Enfield says that they actually sold 944,000, but only 867,000 were warranty registered. So the rest are in dealers' places all over the world, right? I'm sure. They say that they sold 944,000. Now, I'm not in the arguing mood to say, 867,000 were warranty registered, 944,000. Right now, we know KTM is sitting on 230,000 motorcycles that are all 2023 and 2024 models that are unsold. Okay, that aren't questioned whether or not they're unsold. Those are bikes that have not yet been registered, not been warranty registered, what have you. So that's a lot of bikes, right? That's a huge number. And
KTM is out of production right now.
No, KTM.
They're still producing motorcycles.
KTM is right now, depending on whose news source you read.
Yeah.
If it's a KTM that comes from CF Moto, we see no obstruction in the production line. The news of our demise has been greatly exaggerated. But if it's from an Austrian assembly line, where their debts have prevented them from getting the resources that they need to continue to produce vehicles on that assembly line, or they're telling people to go home because they haven't been paid in over 30 days.
Right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas, right? Now, we know that assembly line's not running unless they have hired ghosts, right? But we know the Chinese assembly lines do still run. Now, I'm pretty sure CF Moto is from a position of KTM paid for these, I'm going to build them. And I think that CF Moto might even be from a position of, oh, well, KTM, you Superior Group, you've had a bad time. Well, I'm going to wait until you're truly in financial ruin, and then I will come in and rescue you with my giant bags of Chinese money.
We'll erase all the debt that you owe us if you give us your company.
It's
Well,
happened to other companies.
We talked about Equity Swap earlier.
Yep. And we do know that that Bajaj has a big part of that too.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So Bajaj has a
Well,
big
that
part
was
of
going
that
to be
too.
my next question, is because you talked about Royal Enfield's number being around 900,000.
Right. Yep.
Bajaj is going to have equal numbers to, if not better than, Royal Enfield. The problem is with Bajaj, they're under so many different brands, you can't actually track how many bikes they've sold because you got to go in with Triumph 400s.
It's
you
pretty
go
easy.
Husqvarna.
So
That was interesting about BMW that they're looking to lean into the
Yeah.
450 parallel twin.
well, because we know that's what people are buying.
Yeah.
We just said congratulations to Royal Enfield, 944,000 bikes. That is truly amazing. That is great. 1 year. That is a lot of bikes, damn near 1 million. Bajaj, 3.7 million.
Because we've said.
And by the way, want to give them a credit because that's 27% increase.
Wow.
That is huge.
Boy.
And now
Yeah.
you ask the question, how, who, why? Triumph,
Yep.
BMW, KTM, they build for everybody. They do build for everybody. So regardless of those other companies' health, theirs is quite good.
You think a lot of stuff's coming out of China? Well,
Oh, no.
Well,
Well,
I mean-
that's the thing, is they're neck and neck. And see, it was, 10, 15 years ago that the son took over Bajaj, and he quit making the Cheetah, and everybody went, oh, that's tradition. Because traditionally, you got a Bajaj Cheetah for your wedding, which was this weird cultural thing, but you did. You got a scooter.
You know, it brings up the question: are two different companies counting some of those bikes?
Well, Bajaj
Well, yeah.
is counting.
Bajaj is counting them flat out. They
So
sold them.
Bajaj-
They sold them to Triumph.
Bajaj wants Triumph to be successful and wants BMW to be successful and everything else. Okay,
Hey,
now
Sleepy? I think Chris is trying to get your attention for a black screen there.
That's just his thing, dude. We're
okay,
like-
so here we go. I promise you this is going to be the last one. Hero. Ditch the Zero, get with the Hero, which hilariously Hero Electric or Hero Motors is now a partner in Zero. So just to have fun,
Yep.
Zero is getting in bed with Hero.
So now they're not ditching
Drop
the Zero.
this.
You
They're
don't-
getting, they're,
you
Zero
don't-
is getting with
Get
Hero.
with Zero. But now they're get with Hero and Zero.
And Zero.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Vanilla Bryce.
5.9 million bikes in 1 year.
Hero sells more than Bajaj.
Hero sells more than Bajaj.
What is the biggest bike that Hero sells?
I don't even know. That's a great question to our podcast listeners. I want to know what the largest motor comes out of the Hero factory, because I'm going to bet you that they have their X-Pulse 400 sells 1 billion bikes. They sell a ton of those. They're all over the planet. Their 180 group, their 125cc group, I know they have some 1000cc ATVs and quads, right? So it's not like, oh, Hero, they're great if you need a little thing made or whatever, but who are they? No, they're a big deal. They were 26% of Honda. Pretty solid.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Right, pretty solid. And now, wouldn't Honda love to have their numbers? Right? Go ahead.
Hey, as an aside, Kurt Edwards says, very polished production quality. Well done, Sleepy.
Yay!
Hey, all right.
Night,
very
old
cool.
man, have to go to bed. Enjoy your weekend.
Good job. We'll see you, Kurt. Have
So
a good
there,
night, man.
there you go.
Cheers to
Sleeps.
that.
Right on, right on.
Nice.
hey, enjoy your bone stimulator, dude.
Yes. Double down on the bone stimulator. Yep.
That's
So-
why he's going to bed.
Yeah, that's it. Because now when you put numbers like 6 million in,
Oh, yeah.
and then you go, well, KTM, 375,000, right? So 375,000 for KTM. That's still great
that's-
numbers, man. That's a third of a Royal Enfield.
Yeah.
That's a third of Royal Enfield. That's still great numbers. But what we know is it wasn't enough.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
we always talk about the American market. Why don't we get this bike? Why don't we do this stuff? And you realize we're talking about $20,000, $30,000 maxed out
Yeah,
total sales around the country.
yeah.
And it's a spit in the bucket.
It's
for
not much.
any company.
It's not much. When when you're thinking about motorcycle numbers, and you say like, "Oh yeah, this company's really doing great. They sold 5,000 bikes last year."
Yeah.
You're like, wow, 5,000 bikes. According to these companies' numbers, that's like 97 seconds of production.
Yeah. One dealer
Holy
sold
crap.
5,000 in.
Yeah, that's right. One
Yeah.
dealer
One
sold
dealer
5,000.
sold 5
That's
grand.
right. Yeah,
What does that make a day? What did you say? How many million?
6 million.
So that's
So if you're open 200 days out of the year, I mean, I don't know, but it's
like,
insane.
That's like a whale. I mean, that's insane.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy numbers.
How big are these factories?
Epic.
Oh, yeah.
They're the
like-
size
they
of
have
cities.
to
It's multiple factors.
Sleep-
it's not
sleepy.
just one big factory.
No, I
making
understand
up
that, but
5
think
million.
about how many. Like that's a lot of bikes a day.
Sleepy.
Like,
Sleepy.
Shit,
Have
half
you
of them
never-
are probably getting made in somebody's backyard. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, there's probably like dudes who all they do is make pistons for the, you know, oh yeah. We got
When
When
you go
you-
to the
when you
city
talk
of
about Zhongshan-
yeah, Zhongshan is there's a great documentary about it. Zhongshan, China. It is a city, and the entire city only makes motorcycles.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're like, well, wait a second. What does that mean? No, that means that the entire city makes motorcycles.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's the name of a motorcycle company. It is the name of a motorcycle company, but it is also the name of a city
Yeah.
that makes motorcycles.
and right next to that, when I worked in the radio control industry, there whatever city's next to that, every building is radio control airplane things. You have
Yeah.
1,000 people sitting on floors just gluing together.
And
airplanes.
these are entire cities of 100,000 plus people
And
that
there
are
are-
manufacturing one thing.
the Chinese purchasing marketing mentality of that is so strong that companies that are not in Zhongshan will name themselves Hero Zhongshan.
Yep.
And you're like, they're part of Hero? No, they're Hero Zhongshan.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so they're Hero's representative in Zhongshan. Two things of great importance, two things of great thing. And they're like, no, they're not Hero
Yeah.
in Zhongshan. They're not Zhongshan partnered with Hero. They are literally just a company in some village somewhere that has called themselves Hero Zhongshan.
For the record, my favorite is still
Medusa.
Bashan Austro Aeronautical.
Yeah, Bashan Austria. There's also the one that's made in USA. They named a town
USA.
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 And yeah, they named the town
Now,
USA.
Bashan
so they
Austria
could put
Aeronautical,
made
man,
in
is still my
USA.
favorite.
It's all bonkers. Okay, on to the lighthearted and more interesting to some people. Did you guys know Apple TV was doing a whole other Ewan and Charlie thing?
No.
You broke the news.
Yeah, they're doing vintage bikes this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, Ewan McGregor is going to be riding an Eldorado, and Charlie Boorman is riding an old BMW Airhead, and they are riding from Ewan's house in Scotland to Charlie's house in England. Something along the lines of 196 miles, but they're going the long way. So they're going through the Caucasus, and they're going all over the damn place
I said
to
it was
make.
10,000 miles or something.
They're making a big trip out of it. So I'm excited. I love this. I was so sad about the long way up on the electric bikes.
I still enjoyed it though.
Yeah.
I'm not a hater, man. Those guys. I think the entertainment factor.
The entertainment's
of those
the
two
people.
is fucking great. And like, I don't care if people say it was played out or whatever. Those
Right.
first two series,
Yeah.
were amazing. They introduced the whole world to adventure riding and gave all of us this dream of killing ourselves and
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah, my wife even loved it. I mean,
Yeah.
she's like, well, let's watch the next one.
Let's get into it.
During the moment like adventure biking broke and stuff, I think I kind of snubbed it. Oh yeah, that was just
Right, yeah.
But looking back, no, they're good. They're
great.
good fucking shows.
yeah.
They're
man.
great.
They really are.
I'm excited about it. I'm
Yeah.
really legitimately excited about it. I think it's going to be super fun. And there's nothing that I like more than watching people that represent what we do.
Yeah. And they can't hate it. You know what I mean? Like, they have to have a genuine. It's not just like they don't need the money or anything. They're doing this because they like to do it and they like to do these trips, which is pretty fucking cool.
I think that these two particular humans that are represented in this show, I think these are guys that, I mean, I've spent quite a bit of time talking about this garbage with Ewan McGregor, and it's not an act.
No, right.
This is what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Well, if you could be paid a ridiculous, okay, well, he's already got a ridiculous amount of money because he's an actor and he's very good at it, and very accomplished. But if you could still get paid to do something you wanted to do for the rest of your life, which is literally fucking off on a motorcycle,
Right.
Who wouldn't?
We have friends that don't get paid doing it. They spend all
they
their
spend
money
a lot
doing
of money
it,
doing
Wendy,
it.
and like
he gets paid for it.
right. And I love the fact that
I mean, if he paid me, I'd ride a fucking. I would be backup crew for one of these assholes.
You're riding your bike wherever you're riding it. You know,
Right.
10,000 miles. You've got a full support crew, camera crew.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can stay in a hotel. Any hotel you want to stay in. You can go anywhere you want to do. I mean, like,
Yeah, exactly.
and you're going to make money doing the whole thing, which you'd probably want to do.
I mean,
anyway.
the bigger question here is how do you
awesome.
how do you throw me in a van and pay me to change this asshole's tire?
Yeah, right.
You just have to not get sick of riding your motorcycle.
Yeah.
Or
I'd love
like
to be
Tom
on
says,
the
get in the
film
van that chases.
Get in the van, get in the
know?
chase van.
You know.
We got Mr. Smith.
Go ahead,
Matt Davidson says,
Oh,
Dave Matheson.
Dave Matheson,
just hopping on real quick to let you know
set the timing.
how big an asshole you guys make me out to be by not answering my first question, giving me zero context, and then reading the second half of my question.
No, he should go back to every time we've made fun of him, the entire 14-year career of us either ignoring him, giving him bad advice, or misunderstanding his question. Because really, he's really selling us short here. I think we've abused him far more than he's relaying in just that little snippet.
Well,
I appreciate his brevity, though.
Well, and Paul Kelly says, Dave Mattson, they just covered it. Pay attention.
You know what? That's the next. I need a
Thrown under the bus.
I need a profile photo of this guy so I can do it in black and white. So I can
it's
put it on
on
a t-shirt
screen
with the
right
logo.
now.
Matt, I think you missed the episode where we did, in fact, answer all of your questions.
Well, it's fine. Chris brought me something today. Look at this. Chris brought a thing.
Oh,
Chris brought this for me.
what
I'm
a
very
beautiful
excited.
thing!
I'm very excited about it. I have no idea what's
Wait,
in
there's
here,
more?
but
It's
I
not
know
just
it's
the wrap?
not a puppy.
Well,
Well, it could be.
We're getting
compressed.
a very well taxidermied puppy.
Yeah,
All right, we have something that appears to
it
be.
isn't working.
Well, if this were bourbon, it'd be good bourbon because it's a package inside a package.
Ooh.
All right.
Let me get
What
the
do we got
glasses.
here? Oh man, roller coasters, baby.
Uh-oh.
Oh, this book is going to get some hard use at the shop. You know that.
So that's the history of roller
The
coasters.
history of roller coasters.
Boy, the pages are going to be stuck together on that one.
It is. This is going to live in the shop bathroom for a while. Renee and I, roller coasters are a thing that I've always been in love with since I was a little kid. I'm just super huge roller coaster fan. And Renee and I broke into an amusement park on the day they closed. We didn't break in. We just didn't pay. But we got in and we got to ride their roller coasters because there's one particular coaster in there that I had on my list I wanted to ride. And I kind of heard a rumor that they were going to close the park. And we happened to be driving through there on a cross-country trip about an hour and a half before they closed, and I didn't know that was going to be that was going to be an hour and a half before they closed forever. Wow. And we got to ride the coaster. We got in
Nice.
trouble with park security because we said we were going in to find our kids because the kids didn't report back in. So
Yeah.
hey, I'll leave you my car
But
keys.
did
and
they
everything.
even care at that point? Weren't they just like, fucking party? It's the end of the world, man.
Security guards are not built like you and me.
No.
Security guards are presented with a challenge, and then they say, we must attack this with much tenacity because I'm going to be a hardened cunt right to the very bitter end. And we did eventually.
You've paid me to be an asshole for 40 hours a week. I'm going to be an asshole up until that 40th hour.
I don't think anybody that was working that day knew that they weren't going to come back to their job
Ah.
in March or April or May, whenever that club, probably May, Memorial Day weekend.
Oh.
I don't think anybody that was working that day knew that they were never going to come back to work ever again. Because I think they are on there. But I'm very excited about this.
So
This
I
is
was
cool.
at the dentist's office, and
Yeah.
that
And you stole it
book
from the
was
dentist's
there,
office.
and
Nice.
nobody was at the front desk.
Right?
So
I said, thank you very much.
Stole it straight from the dentist's office. Well, thank you, Chris.
Security guards.
That is super cool.
You
I really appreciate
you
that.
anti-dentite bastard.
You know, somebody. Let's
is
see
so
here. Wait a
cool.
minute. Wait a minute.
Renee's saying, don't tell that story.
Why? Because we've heard it too many times.
Right, Renee. I
right.
shortened that story in the
Wait,
interest of brevity.
We got a good question from Wesley Witt. Any plans for episode 500?
Not yet, but it's only 10 away, so we got to do some planning.
Oh, something's going to happen.
let us
though.
know, Wesley.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to Santa Cruz and do it live with the Misfits. No, that's not going to. That's what
Do
I
we-
did. I
do we
went
have-
to Santa Cruz for their 500.
Well, if anybody
episode.
here could suggest a top 10 things we should do for number 5.
Stop! Don't even. You know what? I was sad that today in today's podcast homework there were 10
Things.
items.
Oh God.
And
It's a great number, though. People love tens. I'm just
We should
telling
make a
you.
list of 10 things.
all right, here we go. We talked about it not too long ago, and I'm saying not too long ago. We were all falling in love with the Arc Motorcycle Company. We all thought it was a sexy motorcycle. It was, and we were talking.
Maybe
earlier
you
about
were, but I wasn't.
the center hub steering. We were talking about the Omega chassis.
Yep.
We were talking about all the things and the impossibly cool range and how good it looked and all that fun stuff. The Arc Vector is a sexy-ass motorcycle. Whether it's powered by hydrogen, gasoline, helium, or electricity, it's still a sexy bike. Well, I'm glad we weren't the only ones that fell in love with it, because Ryan Reynolds of Wrexham Football Club fame, or Deadpool, or whatever.
Oh, wait, he's that guy?
Yeah, he's that guy.
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yep, go figure.
Weird.
He was a big push behind this company. He loved the shaver so much he bought the company. Right?
Yeah.
So the only old men will get that. That's it. Sorry,
You
sorry
got me
about
good
that.
there.
Anybody under the age of, say, 35-ish,
Yeah.
you might have to look that one
So
up.
here you go.
Or a Patreon over $10.
I'm going to read my favorite takeaway from this particular interview or this article about how they are now completely 100% financially insolvent. Ultimately, when you sell high-cost, low-volume, bespoke products, it doesn't take many people letting you down to put you in a difficult position.
That doesn't sound bitter.
I'm honestly surprised he didn't list the 5 people that fucked him over.
Yeah.
Right? I lost my dreams. Everything I planned is all because of these 5 assholes. Right? You know what?
It's, $98,000 is the number I saw. Is that about right?
That was a price per bike.
Who the fuck is paying $100,000 for a fucking motorcycle?
Keanu
That's not-
Reeves.
I could
That's
buy a
not like an
Cybertruck
example.
for that kind of money.
Stop. We have a list.
We have a list of the 5 assholes.
Well, I think, hold on, wait for it. $105. So more than Harley-Davidson sold of
The line.
their real motorcycles in 2 whole years, right? Right, exactly. So that's true, and that was the deal. So the long and short of it is, despite all the great technology, the 399-volt battery, high-speed charging, and all that good shit, despite all of that, despite several high-powered celebrities buying these things and driving them around, apparently, despite all that, guess what?
It went the way of the Stanley Steamer.
They did go.
It's really weird when people tell me they buy a bike that costs literally as much as the house I'm in.
Do you have conversations with people that buy $100,000 motorcycles? Because I don't. I don't.
I kind of have.
I've never had somebody tell me I bought a $100,000 motorcycle because I don't swim in those pools. Yeah, I just don't. I've never had anybody walk up 36 grand's probably my record. Somebody that bought a Confederate like Hellcat or something.
Oh, I've talked to the.
Yeah.
When you can buy
I've
a,
worked on those and talked to the guy, but yeah.
when you can buy a new Panigale V4 for 28, like the limited edition one, what can that bike do better for another $60,000?
I believe the phrase is
Nothing.
exclusivity.
I mean,
right.
my response is always going to be, if you're going to spend that kind of money, seize this virus. And that's
Because-
still not even that much.
Yeah, but unsupportable.
Yeah.
Right, unsupportable. I love that it says that many A-list Hollywood actors and Middle Eastern royalty.
Now I have worked on
I love
Angelina.
that.
I have worked
That's
on
a great
Angelina
balancing
Jolie's
act.
MV Agusta, so I kind of have been around this. But this is ridiculous.
It's just
It wasn't
again,
that many Hollywood actors. It wasn't more than like 100.
It
And
wasn't,
see-
and
and
we
see-
don't know how many Middle Eastern royalty
And
there
see,
is.
and see, Keanu Reeves already has his own motorcycle company,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
really he doesn't need more than one.
No, wait. He doesn't need more than one. I don't need more than one, and I'm not Keanu Reeves' money, right? Keanu Reeves probably has 40 motorcycles.
Oh yes,
right.
At least Phil,
Right.
you have at least 40 motorcycles in the shop.
In that one building, yeah,
Right.
for sure.
I think
get that.
in my own private Idaho, that movie from 90 or something.
Yeah.
That was his.
Gus Van Sant.
That was his triumph, I think. Like,
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, no, Keanu Reeves has got a very extensive motorcycle collection,
Yeah,
from what I
he's-
understand.
He's look.
And even Ryan Reynolds, because he invested money in this company, is probably a really big motorcycle guy. And even if we throw in what's his name? We just mentioned a long way around.
All the McGregors.
Yeah,
right,
McGregor
yeah,
and everybody
right.
else. But the reality is, you've just said there's 150 people that are going to buy these bikes.
Yeah, and for the Arch Motorcycle Company, or for Keanu Reeves' bikes, he's good with that.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I think the original Confederate line, when they did those, they do 100 bespoke motorcycles per year for 100
And it was
grand
still
a piece.
unsustainable, and they
That's
lost
cool,
their time.
man, because that's $10 million where I come from, and $10 million will run you a company with about 8 people in it. That's cool. Rock on. I know Janus didn't sell $10 million worth of products last year, right? How many bikes do you think they sell a year, give or take? 1,000 bikes, right? 1,000 motorcycles a year, right? And that's 1,000 $10,000 motorcycles per year.
All I can hear is JT going, circles, man. Circles.
I wish I could throw it up the screen right now. I can't.
I know.
Tom, you
I
turn it
know.
on, turn it off
It
again.
just it
whatever.
I've tried turning it off and then on
I don't
again,
care.
and it
I'm
still
going to
didn't
pull
work.
it up. The BMW R12S.
Oh yeah.
I can't stop looking at this bike, man. I'm having a problem.
Every couple of decades.
Where did this come out?
Go buy one. It's
Yeah.
$21,500.
Every couple of decades, BMW comes out with
Just
this amazingly sexy
the stance-
RS bike.
The back, the seat, the whole back of the motorcycle
Yeah.
is what I wished the Ducati 1000 Sport Classic looked like.
Yeah.
It's got the exact right amount of air between the tire and the tail.
The exhaust. It's not a Honda or a modern exhaust. It's got dual megas.
Dude, it looks like a custom house took an original,
Spoke wheels.
everything and just made it badass.
It does,
it's so
man.
good.
It does.
Because what was the last one? The R9T,
They're 9T. That's
which was fucking sexy as hell.
still
was,
sexy as
yep.
hell.
And then
Right.
just back and back, and BMW always does this one bike that just fucking blows you
It's
away.
just a gorgeous bike. I mean, it's just beautiful.
It was kind of an homage to the R90.
Oh yeah. Is it? I forgot.
Absolutely.
Is this the Daytona Orange?
It's the Daytona Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you know what? It's just such a beautiful bike. And just like every time I look at a picture of a Moto Guzzi Grezzo, my heart goes, oh.
Yeah, I wish they had.
And when I look at this bike, I do the exact
I
same
wish
thing.
they had done the faded silver over the orange like they did with the Daytona.
You mean the bad paint job? The job that was
Oh, I
like,
love
there's
that
not a
one.
straight line anywhere on the bike. It looks like they painted it in a rush.
Yeah.
Like, no two are alike.
Yeah.
You could have worked on that.
Yeah.
You could have achieved that
no.
goal.
No,
But
no.
instead, it's like,
But then they're
this
unique.
They're unique.
This is Gunter's overspray.
Yeah.
This is Claudio's overspray. Like, come on, dude. Does nobody in your factory not have the shakes?
There's probably
Yeah.
somebody out there that does know which painter painted which bikes.
Again, but I've seen 1,000 of them, and
I
I've
know.
never seen two that look like they nailed it.
Dude, those painters didn't wear masks back then. They're
That's
not
true.
around.
Yeah, they all had the shakes.
Well, so what I think is funny about this is you can see where they've decided to have lines and follow them on this bike. But if you look at the side panels where the fake airbox is, you can see that there's a little silver overspray on the leading edge of the side panel that does give it that homage to the fucked upness of its ancestors.
Yeah.
Because every single time I've owned one of these, they could have never done the two-toning that's done on the bum stop on the back of that seat. Go ahead, Chris.
I checked with Kyle Norwood over at Janus. How many bikes did they sell?
Sure.
He said, I think we sold 324 in 2024.
In 2024. Okay.
324.
Yeah. So
I was way off. By
yeah,
saying
because
1,000.
I was just kind of curious based on the bumper numbers. I was kind of looking
Well,
at.
so now
'cause-
we're talking about exclusivity, which is Janus selling
Yeah, of course.
exclusive numbers.
And
at
Nate
324.
S. Jepp says, if Harley had any damn sense, they'd establish a sub-brand in the U.S. like a Ford and Lincoln situation and build a buyer base with affordable X300 and X450 or whatever they are,
Well,
plus dirt bikes and ATV, then the Prestige line could still be called HD and people would strive to get one in the future.
That's true.
they sort of tried that with Buell and fumbled it really badly,
Yeah,
which was
they
a
did.
shame.
'Cause
Which
the
was
Buell
a shame
Blast-
because
the Buell Blast 500.
Buell Blast was the perfect starter bike.
The Buell was a different animal, though, too. It
was.
wasn't
Well-
like... I didn't think the Buell ever, aspired to be a real Harley.
I feel like that was the problem is that Buell got kicked down on by the Harley guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
They really got kicked down hard. And so I rode Buell for years and years and years. I really loved my Buells a lot, but you take a lot of shit when you ride a Buell.
Yeah.
And then when they had the idea that they needed a bike for their own training program, and they did the Buell Blast, which is one Sportster cylinder and a Kimco carburetor, right? Those two components together made the Buell Blast. Very low seat height. You could buy it even in a lowered version, so it was new bike rider friendly. The pricing on it was really good. I had a problem with the way they looked aesthetically, but it was a great product that I think Harley-Davidson, had they done some sense of ownership other than they happened to be in our building.
Buell should have never happened. Okay, Harley-Davidson should have built a sport bike.
Well,
Should have hired Eric Buell to build a sport bike and called it a
'Cause-
Harley-Davidson.
because he started at Harley,
Yeah.
and then
And
Harley
if
said,
Triumph,
we don't
if Triumph
want
and
this.
Ducati can build dirt bikes, so can Honda.
Yeah.
Or so can Harley-Davidson.
Well, it's and they used to, because you look at the XR750 and stuff. They used to have an amazing line of
Well, and
motorcycles.
there's those companies that have well, you had one, didn't you? Have a conversion in your shop?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Harley should be building side-by-sides.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you know. What's funny?
Yeah.
We got where is it?
that's-
Wesley Witt
that's-
said for the past 5 years, I wonder why Harley Davidson hasn't gotten into the dirt-related vehicles. Just pulled
Because
to the side.
Americans like dirt.
They should have a Harley-Davidson jet wave runner.
It's
They should. You're absolutely right.
But that was the fallout from the AMF sale.
They should
Because
build
had-
golf carts.
They had them in Waterworld.
They had
If they
all
only
the-
had golf carts.
they only had-
He's got a great point. Wesley Witt said the off-road market
Yeah.
has really taken off. All the side-by-sides, the big mud parks and everything.
Right.
What do all those dudes have in their garage?
Yo,
Harley-Davidson.
Absolutely.
So if they fucking sold a dirt vehicle, all them
know-
dudes would have fucking Harley dirt vehicles.
You know what the answer to this is though? Polaris.
Well,
Because
I mean,
you're looking
when
at
we
Victory, you're looking at Polaris side by
when
side.
we look at what Polaris has done,
Yeah.
is Polaris walked up and stole Harley's sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Because right now, Indian's a very good motorcycle. And I don't think anybody would stand up and say that Indian's not a very good motorcycle. I can tell you that I'm on a lot of Milwaukee 8 forums that I do know about some problems that people are having with those.
Jake
Yeah.
2.0 yelled golf carts.
Golf carts, baby, golf carts. It's all
I
about
mean,
golf
What is
carts.
this,
I mean,
Echo
I-
Canyon?
I kind of got a little mad when they ended Victory because I thought I kind of was behind Victory. I liked it. I liked him as
I was
a bike.
behind Victory too, but
It's
when they
really
got rid of
cool.
Victory, they just moved the good Victories to the Indian badge.
Exactly.
The only
That
thing
was
Harley
fine.
Davidson shouldn't build is an airplane.
Well, I mean,
They're involved in all that.
There's
I'm,
been
I'm
planes
actually
with Harley
or
motors,
an
though.
electric
You've seen those,
motorcycle.
right?
Or an
Like the
electric
old, like
motorcycle.
the,
Oh, yeah.
you know, like World War II.
yeah,
one
Stearman
plane.
stuff,
Yeah.
stuff
Well,
like
it's,
that.
you know,
yeah.
and that was
Yeah.
the thing about Victory is when they did away with Victory, they did away with Bramo. And
I got to say, whoever made the decision at, let's just call it what it is, Polaris. Whoever made the decision at Polaris to pull the plug on Victory and also pull the plug on Bramo, I hope that exactly 1 year after he did that, right, and like open up his wall locker and there's a bag of shit or whatever, I hope that 1 year after he did that, he got the biggest bonus of anybody at that company. Because him ditching Bramo, him ditching, because I know the guy that was the designer for Bramo. He's over working at Zero. And that whole circus, because we'd go to those shows at the IX Center, we'd work the booth, and that whole Polaris zone, there was a bit of a circus in there for a while. You're like, what the hell's going on over here? But like the Bramo Impulse and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's, does it have a transmission? Does it shift? Doesn't it shift? Come on, pick a lane, man. And Indian is totally the best example of picking a lane ever because
oh yeah,
look, I loved the Victories. I thought they were really cool bikes. I do. But I also can tell you the best parts of the Victory ended up in the Indians.
and
Yeah, which is fine.
So Jake has a good suggestion. He
Yeah.
says HD mobility scooters.
Now that makes
that
perfect
is where their
damn
market's
sense.
right
that
there.
is
That's
where
right.
the market's headed.
Yeah, that's right.
Emerging
That's
market
your customer
right there.
base there, right there.
Yeah.
When I had those numbers up later, you guys can check the show notes. Check the show notes and go to some of those reports that I posted up from the shareholders meeting. And when you go there, one of the lines item on there says Harley-Davidson motor vehicle sales, and it says Harley-Davidson motor vehicle sales, and it goes all the way down, and then it gets to it says total something numbers do not include 3-wheeled vehicles. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Why are you not admitting the Tri-Glide even exists? Well, I think that we've seen recently with the recall information the problems they've had with Tri-Glides just suddenly deciding to turn the brakes on the left wheel at 70 miles an hour.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a thing. Look that up.
What? So that just pulls you right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into traffic.
Yeah, it does.
Allegedly. one guy allegedly happened to twice.
It happened to twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one guy...
Hey, killed
User error.
his wife the second time.
The second, so the
Yeah,
first...
not like he didn't want to.
Yeah, the first time...
Right, that's the alleged
Too
part.
soon, man.
The first time, Harley-Davidson blamed him.
Really?
Said they were not culpable in any way, shape, or form in the entire thing, and they refused to fix his bike, etc. Eventually, lawyers piled up, and the lawyers piled up long enough that Harley-Davidson said, Jesus Christ, Mitch, fix this bike. Fix the bike and get it back to the customer. So they fixed the bike and they got it back to the customer. And weirdly, same dude, same bike, brake locks again, but this time he's 2 up.
So they blame the wife.
Well, it was clearly her fault. Yeah, clearly her fault. You know, like the guy who burned through 7 Harley clutches because he had a 12-foot flag hanging on the back, right? They didn't want to honor the warranty for that, you know. So it's a weird thing. Sleepy, did you? I think you turned me on to this. We were talking about riding motorcycles in shopping malls last week, and now best image, by the way, ever. Thanks for this one. Here's a guy pulling 9 o'clock wheelie on, or a 10:30 wheelie on a Vespa that doesn't have a front wheel, because some guys only need one wheel.
Oh, is that the Italian guy?
It is, and the bike is actually supported by his giant balls.
Yeah.
Many cities now are saying, yep, you got the front wheel in the air on your motorcycle? That's not a 2-point ticket. That's not a 3-point ticket. That's all the points. Now, I like wheelies. I do them on most bikes that can. If I'm riding a motorcycle and it is a motorcycle that likes to wheelie, I will probably be wheeling it at some point during my riding of the motorcycle. Sometimes I do it when I'm leaving a red light at optimal performance. Not breaking any laws, just optimal performance.
Heck, if you got a passenger, sometimes it's just a matter of a quarter turn of a throttle when you're doing a wheelie.
Depends on the passenger, too, right? That does. So that's not cool, but it is, in fact, directly to jail. Kansas City is straight up looking to bring it into a go directly to jail situation.
Well, Florida.
I was reading that article. Part of it's also cars. I guess a lot of people are wheel standing their cars because they've got Kansas City. Isn't that where like farm truck comes from?
Oh, yeah, all them. The
and they've got a lot of like gassers and stuff out on the street, and they're
All
actually like doing wheelies in their cars.
Well,
So the short answer is, if you found yourself in Kansas City, leave.
I did a video about weird laws, and so Florida just came up with their So Florida's always been kind of bad for wheelies.
Yeah.
But now, like, the first offense is like 4 points or something. The second offense is like a 6-point, a 2-year suspension, and a $2,500 fine.
Yeah.
And the third time you get caught, it's a 10-year plus suspension, $10,000 fine, and like they're getting crazy with it.
They're getting crazy with
Yeah.
it. It is getting crazy. Now, the good news is for your first offense, they will not lock you up in jail for more than 180 days.
That's nice.
So I think that's very sympathetic of them.
So
You know,
you just
you wouldn't
losing
want
your
to spend
job.
more than 6 months in jail for a wheelie.
Right.
Now,
Probably lose your
if
house
you've ever
again.
worked at my shop for any period of time, you'll know that on a summer day, especially in the springtime, when customers leave my shop on vehicles they're not familiar with, there's at least a 75% chance of wheelie, right? So if the cop just wants to set up in the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, he can see, and probably the dash cam photos are probably great because I've seen people crossed up leaving my shop, just straight up
Putting some style in it.
full whiskey throttle.
Flying H.
Yeah, the only thing holding them on the bike is their asshole clenching the seat so hard.
It's bit in.
But because both feet are just flying in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be like, wow, yeah. Rebecca's not used to that kind of power, is she? Yeah, that's a thing that happens at the shop quite a bit. It's real. I love that the one they were like, okay, shock imprisonment for a period of 48 hours by a term of community service and a $1,000 fine. Now, shock imprisonment is not something I'm familiar with. I used to be a law enforcement officer.
What is this?
I was never. I've heard of a lot of stuff, but I have never heard of shock imprisonment.
Yeah.
And shock imprisonment is a very strange thing to me, and that's saying that for this list of violations and misdemeanors and things, we have a trial, we have an arraignment, we have a hearing, we have all kinds of rules that we have that are there to protect the citizen from excesses of justice and punitive actions on behalf of law enforcement. Now they are straight up saying that one of the primary elements about this is shock imprisonment.
So
And
what does that entail?
that means that you get put in the car, so you do wheelie, meet police officer, wrist restraints are applied
Oh, straight to.
in the back of a car, directly to in-processing, not gen pop, but county lockup. And I can tell you from personal experience, city jails are not great because it's more of a community love session. It's more of a group chat with people you don't want to have group chat with. And they usually will throw a bag of like Wonder Bread in there with slices of bologna in between it. And they'll usually be like, here you go, guys. And then
what
like
are you in for? I popped a wheelie.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I lofted my front end on my
Ride fast and take chances.
Well, you see,
my
I bought
KLR
this
250 got a
motorcycle.
little away from me.
I bought this motorcycle up at Clevelandmoto, and when I
Yes.
was leaving, got away from me. Next
Yeah.
thing I know, here I'm sitting,
Here I'm sitting.
eating a bologna sandwich.
And you know that whatever cop did that to you,
Is
whatever
an
cop
asshole.
hooked you up,
Is 100% a fucking asshole.
after he dropped you off and after he turned you in and got his cuffs back from the jailer, I've been there many times, after he's done all that, you know that he's going to come by your cell. Not your cell, your joint cell. Because you don't get your own cell until you're there for quite a
For
while.
a blow me sandwich.
For a blow me sandwich. That cop is going to come by the holding tank. He's going to come by that community cell with the one little stainless steel toilet in the corner that you get to have everybody watch you poo, right? And you got to ask for squares. You got to ask for toilet paper. They're not going to put a whole roll in there. You got to ask. He's going to come by and he's going to look in the window of that cell and he's going to say, "Hey, pretty. I heard that that bike you were riding there. Was that a 125? Were you?
No,
was
no,
that a
no.
moped?
That was a live wire.
Right. And he's going to make sure to remind everybody in that room with you that you're not in there for punching a cop, because that's usually what you say. You're not in there for, hitting your old lady. You're not in there for that. You're not in there for your fourth DUI or failure to appear or something normal. He's going to remind everybody in there that you pulled a wheelie on your 125 or your 250 KLR or whatever, your KLX.
So just leave them alone.
I think this is I think this is absolutely shock imprisonment.
That cop is just disappointed that the blowjob that he gave you is very disappointing.
Shock imprisonment.
Yeah.
I mean, shock imprisonment. Now, we do have a problem, obviously. We have a lot of people running illegal motorcycles with no license plates in a very reckless fashion in our city, and it is the Wild West out there.
When you watch like a lot of the highway drag racing and
Yeah.
like stunt guy videos on YouTube,
Yeah.
they're always getting pulled over and like these poor cops, and you'll never hear me say these poor cops. These poor cops. Every bike has no plate.
Right,
Like they're all sitting there like, oh fuck, I don't have my plate.
Right.
And they're always like, oh, it's in my backpack. Oh, I forgot to put it on.
Right.
And these cops have to hear that
Yes.
from the same kid like 37 times a week.
Yes.
It's part of the job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
But I mean,
some days more than once.
But you know what? Here's the weird part.
they
Like I used to do dumb shit, right?
Yeah.
But I never took my plate off. Like you got in more trouble with your plate. Like if you just pulled over half the time and you had all your shit kind of together, they'd be like, "Okay, assholes, keep it down. You want a ticket or what? You give it maybe a 10 over ticket or something."
And give you a little insight onto that.
Yeah.
For people that, kind of been there, done that. If you have a title for the vehicle and you know you're going to be doing illegal stuff anyway, whether your plate is like bent up so it's hard to see or just not there doesn't make much of a difference.
Right.
Okay? You're still going to get the ticket for improper use of plate or no plate. That ticket's going to happen.
Well, and it's also a reason for you to get pulled over compared to somebody else.
Well,
like if you're the guy, because that cop knows that's an easy ticket. No plate, boom, I got him on that at least. You know.
Well, and cop sees you doing the wheelie, and you have the plate, and the plate's readable, right? You are definitely 100% on that camera.
Yeah.
Okay. The guys around you with no plates, they're gonzo.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna go, yeah, shit.
No, they're gonna go.
Okay.
But the thing is that you can't. These guys, you see it in these videos.
Yeah.
They forget because they're 23,
Right.
25. Some hot girl walks there, and all of a sudden a sheriff pulls in the parking lot, and they're all like, "Oh, dude, I got no plate."
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you're fucked at that point.
When you go out and ride your motorcycle, no license plate on it, you know you're riding a motorcycle, no license plate on it. I am that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. I know I'm doing it when I'm doing it.
Right.
And if a cop pulls me over and I happen to not have a license plate on my motorcycle that day, the first words out of my mouth are, the plate fell off.
Right.
And I'm like, look, I will give you my license plate number. You can run it right now. That freaking plate, I put it on with those stupid wing nut things, and they vibrate off. And it vibrated off, and now I got to get another plate. And you're not the first person to tell me about it, because I had a guy stop me at the red light 6 blocks ago and tell me about it too.
Right.
So I'm just trying to get home so I can park this thing and I can get a plate on it. That's probably going to pull a lot. That's going to tow a lot of freight with that situation.
Well, if you don't have a 12 o'clock bar hanging on.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. That is it.
Crash cage.
You get a crash cage and a 12 o'clock bar.
Your tank looks like a fucking potato chip.
Yeah. Your license plate's so folded up under your undertail that it's inverted now, right? Yeah, but it's still there, right? You know, when your license plate is pop riveted to the underside of your fender because it's still on the back of your
You
motorcycle.
know what else cops got smart about too? I have to admit, I used to do this.
Yeah.
I used to use zip ties and just hang the plate.
Yeah.
So then as you rode, it naturally just went up.
Dangles up. Yeah.
It comes down and you slow down and then it hangs back down. But the cop, they come up and they go, whoosh.
Invest in the magnetic leaf.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
The magnetic leaf. It's a magnetic leaf. It goes on your license plate. You have a remote control. You walk up to the back. When the cop's telling you your license plate's obscured and the cameras won't pick it up, so they can't give you a ticket or charge you a fine for speeding or parking or whatever, then you walk up to it and you got the remote control in your pocket and you just go leaf and you press the button and the leaf just falls off.
Yeah.
So it's magnetic until you press the button and the leaf just falls off. And then you're like, oh, well, it's a fucking leaf, man. What can I do? I love that. I think that level of clandestine fuckery is just brilliant. I think that's great because I don't like cop giving me a ticket when he's not even going to be polite enough to show up. I don't like getting a ticket in the mail for something I may have done a while ago that I don't remember.
Yeah.
Some momentary awesomeness or some like minor parking thing, or maybe I was going the wrong way on the street or something. And then I get a letter with a picture of me on it. Like, that's just lame. They're phoning it in.
For the purposes of legality, we do not recommend nor do we condone any illegal activity whatsoever.
Well, that's
while
the
riding
joke.
a
You send me a picture that says I owe you a $200 fine. I'm going to send you a picture of $200. That's all you're going to get. Best luck. Best day out. That's what you're going to get. But I do feel like,
Maryland occasionally reminds me that I owe them $3,000, and I occasionally remind them, and I'm never moving back to the state of Maryland. They can fuck right off.
Absolutely. Okay, so playing the game here, Evel Knievel. We all love Evel Knievel. Everyone likes punching a drunk.
Oh yeah, I just saw his
like Evel
daughter
Knievel.
wearing one of his old jumpsuits, doing like the floss dance and the TikTok dance and shit. It was really funny.
It's fine. Evel Knievel, man.
Yeah.
Evel Knievel. You know, Polish American immigrant, right? We got to love these guys, right? If you're going to name, you think of Evel Knievel, man. You think of all the stuff Evel Knievel did.
Broke a lot of bones.
Broke a lot of bones. I think like an Evel Knievel orthopedic wing at the local hospital is probably a very good use of power.
Kids in wheelchairs jumping.
Good use of his name, right? Maybe a line of bourbon called Evel Knievel Bourbon.
Yep.
I think that's great. He's a sporty fella up there in Montana. He had a lot going on. But if I had to hang a name like my big Triumph motorcycle that is an off-road enthusiast type thing, Steve McQueen makes perfect sense. Well done, well played. I did not think that they would put Evel Knievel's name on a 2500cc Triumph Rocket motorcycle. And that surprised me.
Maybe they're the highest bidder.
Ooh.
You know?
Well, because he started with Laverda
Look, he's had a lot
and then went to Harley.
He had there was an own American...
The American brand, yeah.
American brand, American Eagle brand or whatever
American
it was.
Eagle, yeah.
And there were Triumphs in there. Yes, the man rode all kinds of different motorcycles.
He did.
But I don't think, what motorcycle in the world of motorcycles today seems like it's just waiting to jump a line of buses? What motorcycle of the motorcycles available today would look great flying over the fountains at Caesar's Palace?
You'd have a better chance jumping the buses over that 2,500cc.
Yes. I mean,
And that's another crossover. Maybe Evel Knievel motorhomes.
Right.
He was a big fan of
he was a big
motorhomes.
fan.
I was thinking
He
Evel
hit many
Knievel
of them.
Harley-Davidson mobility scooter.
Evel Knievel Harley-Davidson mobility scooter. That's
You know-
another brilliant. Now that writes itself.
We've
bone
been
breaker.
talking about the Triumph dirt bike that they built to compete. That would have been the bike to be the Evel Knievel.
Would you call the Harley-Davidson mobility scooter, the Evel Knievel edition special Harley-Davidson mobility scooter, the Tractionator? Because man was in traction all the time.
Yeah, especially after you switched to Harley.
But I can't think of a worse application of the Evel Knievel name than the heaviest 2.5-liter car motor equipped motorcycle. The least airborne worthy thing. If you said you were going to do it on the Triumph dirt bike, like the Triumph dirt bikes, what a great application for the Evel Knievel name, because the man loved jumping dirt bikes.
If you did a Scrambler, the Scrambler version of the Bonneville, that would have been perfect.
the Scrambler version of the new 400 could be called an Evel Knievel.
Red, white, and blue with the stars,
Red, white,
baby.
and blue, yeah, with the star.
Hell, a lot about that.
That'd be
tank.
the Captain Robbie Knievel. That's like it's the 400.
Actually, Robbie was the dirt bike kid. Robbie would be the Triumph dirt bikes, right? That'd be great. He was a Honda guy, but yeah, for sure. But to me, there is no less aerodynamic, flight-worthy motorcycle that I can think of today, except for maybe a Goldwing. And I gotta say, I think you could jump a Goldwing further than you could jump a Rocket 3.
Well, yeah, those
I
dudes
agree.
on the internet.
yeah.
Those guys are rocking a Goldwing.
And I
over
think
everything.
the Goldwing, even the Goldwing trike, has a certain inherent aerodynamic stability that you don't find with the Rocket 3. I'm just gonna say. Now,
You can make a pig fly.
but I do think, and I think Liza will back me up on this, they might have been leaning into the whole Snake River Canyon thing
yeah.
with the BMW Rocket Cycle, because then it has the word rocket already in it. In which case, you say the Triumph
Rocket.
Cycle.
Evil Knievel.
Snake
Rocket
River.
Cycle.
Snake.
What's the name of that river?
The snake.
The snack. That's a snack.
And still, we don't have Sean here.
I know, right? But this is just one of those ones that I can think of pulling off some stunts, and if I'm going to be pulling off stunts, there's a lot of motorcycles I'd pick to pull off some stunts, but I would not be picking a goddamn Rocket 3. That is it. Period. Dot. Say no more. Wrong motorcycle
Wait,
to
is
put
it at
Evel
least
Knievel's
red,
name on the
white,
side.
and blue?
What's that?
Is it at least red, white, and
No.
in his colors?
No.
No.
No. I don't think there's any red
Why would
on
you
this
buy
thing.
it?
No, pull the picture up. It's not red, white, and blue. It's not even red. There's no red on it.
It's like white
Why
and
would
blue
they
or
do
something.
it?
Yeah. I mean, it's got a star on it and stuff.
Oh, God.
They did steer heavily away from the stars and bars part of the Evel Knievel logo, because I got an Evel Knievel helmet that, when you look at it and you're not aware of who Evel Knievel is, it does kind of look like a certain flag that the southern states use to admit their defeat, right?
White?
Or their inadequacies.
Yes.
Right? But it kind of looks like that for people. I've had people tell me, it's like, what the hell are you doing wearing a rebel flag on your helmet? I'm like, rebel flag?
I
This
think
is
they're showing their ignorance. I've never made that connection.
this is an Evel Knievel helmet.
Oh,
Yeah.
it does have the stripe with the stars. Okay, I see that. That's not horrible.
But his leather's like, if you knew, it's just an Evel Knievel.
It's just
thing.
the Evel
Yeah.
Knievel, man.
yeah.
It's not. It's Evel Knievel, and so the stripes go over the gas tank. It's a white gas tank. It has blue
But-
stripes with some.
And if you put
right.
that on the 400, it would look amazing. Mm-hmm. If you put it on this, it just looks like lipstick on a pig.
You know where that bike is huge though? Is in Australia.
everywhere. That
Well,
bike is huge everywhere.
Yeah, I know, it's
There's
just
no
big.
part of that bike that isn't huge.
It's just big.
That
Where-
bike is a big fucking bike.
Where that bike is embraced is Australia.
Of course it
Yeah,
is.
there's huge
I
groups
mean,
of
there's only
guys
like a
out there.
1,000
The Rocket 3 groups and
Yeah.
stuff.
Do you know
all
why?
there. Why is that?
Have you ever been to Australia?
No, it's a bucket list.
Okay. The towns in Australia that
Clowns.
are close together
The clowns.
are far.
Yeah.
Anytime when I was in Australia and I'd see a car and I'd be like, oh my God, man, that ute, that is exactly what I want. I want that car that can haul motorcycles. It's perfect. It's everything I want. I want that ute. And they're like, yeah, that's great. I'm like, how many miles do you got on it? I go, 400,000 miles. How do you have 400,000 miles on a car? Oh, well, are you aware that to drive across Australia is our country?
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, there's like 4 good cities in all of Australia. And it would be like if somebody stuck one in Maine, Florida, Washington State, and California.
Yep.
And then, like, you want to go to the 4 great cities in Australia? Pack a lunch, baby.
I just want to go on a walkabout and get killed by some weird bug.
I think you can do that in
Ding-
Florida.
Dingo ate our sleepy.
Yeah. No, it seems like a cool place, man. I really would
I
love
mean,
to see it.
the fact that they have road trains.
They
the
have a
fact
lot
that
of
they
straight
have-
there.
I mean, because it literally you drive in a straight line for 2
Yeah.
days,
But, like-
and I mean it's a rig with 10 cars behind it.
From what I've seen, obviously I haven't been there, anything like that, but it's
Yeah.
like they got the cool part of hillbillies, but they're also all kind of surfers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like they got the...
I have heard it is
It's like Florida.
it's supposed to be the Florida of the world.
It's this Rocket 3 is $32,800,
It's a lot of dollars.
and it doesn't have much of a windshield. It doesn't have all the things that other $33,000 motorcycles
That's my
have.
question.
Yeah.
As a guy who, has a semi-naked bike that
Yeah.
can go very fast,
Right.
you can't go very fast over 140 or so on it because the wind is there. So, like, even with, 29 million cc's or whatever this thing has, how fast could you legitimately go without you blowing your face out? You know what I mean? At some point, the aerodynamics kicks in and there's physics behind that.
They say the top speed is 145 miles per hour.
That's probably as much as you could hold on to that.
Well,
thing.
we know that Indian, that FTR 1200 that we have at the shop.
Yeah.
I know that speed is governed by the computer at 125. So it will not go over 125 miles an hour, but that's got the dyno jet kit on it, so who knows what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
But that's got a
excited to see
dyno jet and a pipe on it, so who knows what's going to happen with that. But I can tell you that from the manufacturer, though, it had a 125 mile per hour set speed limiter.
Anything over that hurts.
Oh my God, man!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so
I had a
much-
lot of naked motorcycles that when you get to $125, that is an arm stretching contest, and you're just like, I can only hold this position so long.
And that literally is just motor with handlebars.
But
When
I've
I-
had a lot of bikes that fit that description.
When I first got the Tuono and I wasn't used to it, and I didn't have my tank pads on the side, and I nailed it, I thought I was going off the back. Like, there is nothing to hold on. Now the tank pads, like when you're going to throw the throttle in, I just squeeze that fucker and hold myself in place, and then you don't go off the back.
They're 2.5 liter. They say it's weird because it says 127.1 horsepower.
Huh.
I like how I throw the .1 on there.
I do
Yeah.
too. I think that's
That
pretty.
seems really low for all those liters,
and
unless
it's
it just has torque.
and it's
everywhere.
144 torques.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the
Yeah.
that's the package. That's the deal.
That's the...
And
Woo!
at 5,700 RPM.
Yeah, so it's a
So it's car motor.
Chevy.
That's a car motor.
Yeah.
That's Cosworth.
Well, that was the
Yeah.
that was
There's
the
one in the
original selling.
driveway.
There's one in the driveway. I
The
give you
ori-
4,100 for it. By
The
God,
original
Chris.
selling point of the Rocket 3 was it had Viper pistons.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's really something. That's the whole thing. I mean, I know a lot of people. A lot of people do love them. The first generation of those, when I rode one, it was very fat. It was very obese.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't do anything well. And then I rode one of these newer ones, and I was quite impressed. It was very nice, very cool motorcycle. Still chonky, still a chonky bike, but really much easier to drive. Let's see here. The Triumph Rocket 3, they said final top speed with a lot of modifications of 157 miles per hour. It's not slow. You're getting around pretty good for a motorcycle with absolutely no aero. For a bike that's just hang on for life.
it literally looks and reminds me of the Boss Hoss.
You know what?
Yeah.
They
That's the only thing I've ever seen.
when
of
the
a
first
Rocket
ones
3.
came out, I felt they did. So
Yeah.
the first generation of Rocket 3, to me, everything about it was comical and it was
Yeah.
like a Boss Hoss.
Yeah.
Now the new ones that are out don't remind me of Boss
No,
Hosses.
they looked at Ducati with what was the
The
Diablo?
Diavel. Yeah, the Diavel's a really,
And
really...
I went, oh, we can make a little bit fancier.
Yeah, I agree. They're a fast bike. I had a Diavel for a little while, and I don't think that we had it at the shop for a bit, and that is one of those motorcycles that I took it in on trade only because I thought the man that was trading it in had suffered a head injury.
Well,
when he came in.
He probably
and-
thought the
and-
same about you, Phil.
Yeah, well, so I was kind of laughing about this, 150 horsepower,
they're very cyberpunk.
yeah, and
That's
I was
the best
kind
way
of
to
like,
describe it.
ooh, in 2011, 2012, like first year, and I was kind of like, oh my God, if this guy's willing to trade a Diavel for a Vespa, and I'm only going to be out $7,000, so I'm going to get this Ducati for $7,000. Now it needs a new tire. It needs a new tire in the front. It needs a new tire in the back. But it's $7,000 for a 5-year-old Ducati. I don't think I can get hurt in this deal. I really don't think I can. I went out and rode it a couple of times. We put new tires on it. And you know what I can tell you? Is I had a very hard time making money on that bike. The depreciation of those Diavels was astronomical. Like a Harley V-Rod, they just didn't hold their
Well,
value.
think about it. You're taking a bike that, like, if you put to the general population, 8 people are going to like it, and now you got to sell that bike to those 8 people. Like, it's not a really, like, not a lot of people I know are like, I'm striving. I can't wait till I have money to buy a Diavel.
For Ducati to have made that decision, because you're coming off the Sport Classics and the 999s and the really cool bikes that everybody has wanted for decades, to the Diavel.
Oh, the
And
Diavel was
and you look at it and you're like,
as a Ducati for old white guys.
yeah.
That's exactly what it was, and it was the same. It was the hot rod. It was the Roadster, whatever.
And I
all
and
those
I look
things.
at him, like I said, I look at him and I go,
Go ahead and throw that up, Sleepy.
it's kind of cool. Like, it's totally cyberpunk. Like, if I was into really deep into cyberpunk, I'd do it.
MSRP $17,500, 2012. Current value, low retail $4,000.
Yeah.
$4,000.
That's terrible.
So that is a Honda Dax.
Yep.
So you can have a 125 Honda Dax, or you can have a freaking 160 horsepower Ducati Diavel. That to me is hilarious. Deflation, loss of value, incredible hit taken by anybody who bought that motorcycle.
The scramblers used are still worth more.
They're
money.
worth more money, absolutely. Oh, that's it. So does anybody have anything else for our fine podcast listening folks? What you got, Dan?
I do. On the way here,
Yes.
I ran into someone who's been on this podcast exactly once, many, many years ago.
Oh, boy.
And he sent a big hello to you and Dustin,
Oh, my God.
Tom Gray.
Oh, Tom Beer Gray. We love Tom Gray. Yeah, we were at the Descendants Circle Jerk show. And Renee and I were at Descendants Circle Jerk show, just loving the whole thing. And I kept hearing this. Are you supposed to be up here? And I was like, I'm not looking. I know we snuck into this whole upper area with the good air conditioning and the nice chairs. I really am not going to look over my shoulder. Hey, are you supposed to be up here? And I was like, come on, this is ridiculous, man. I don't want to get hassled. It's hot and sweaty down there. The sound sucks down there. The sound up here is amazing. It's perfect for my 55-year-old ears. I love it up here. This is great. And he goes, Unkie Phil, are you supposed to be up here? And I turned around, and it was Tom Gray. And I was like, Tom. I love that guy. He was. They were there. They were enjoying the show, having a great time. Super good dude. Just a super, super great day. Is he still with the beer, or is he?
No, he's with River Roots Whiskey.
Oh,
now.
with whiskey. Yeah, with the whiskey guys. Yeah.
Same place Tim Harnett
Same
is.
place Tim Harnett is. They're making whiskey.
Yeah, I just missed Tim Harnett. I guess he left like 5 minutes before
Oh,
I
really?
ran into Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing their own barrels and the whole thing, man. It's a big deal. Yeah, we like him. He was super cool. And he was on our podcast.
Yeah.
And I think he was talking about like some weird Honda. No, I think he actually bought, or Dustin might have sold him, like an 83 Honda 700 Magna that they got running and they got it.
People pay money for those?
No, I don't think that. I honestly don't think money changed hands on this one.
I was gonna say
I
because
think this might have been like a case of beer.
the only time I've ever seen anybody get a V45
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
anything,
42.5,
basically they
yeah.
just drive by and throw them out of the van.
This
at
one,
you.
I had 3 of them, man. I liked them.
This one I made this 700 Magna because I was a big fan of Super Magnas, but I wasn't a big fan of the not Super Magnas. And this one showed up, and I was like, "Oh man!" Like I just gave it the whole like, "Yeah, 4 carburetors," you know.
Well, that's the thing. Mine's all when they run, they were fun.
Right. And so I
yeah.
was kind of giving it a lot of hate, but I think Dustin got it for like no money. And so I think Tom ended up with it. for like 3 hours of work. Like we all stabbed it with screwdrivers. It was there in the middle of a podcast, and we just attacked this thing. And next thing you know, it's running on 4. And I was like, go ride it now. Ride it as much as you can ride it until one of those carburetors cocks up. Because as soon as one does, then it's just done. You're not going to have any fun anymore. Well, that's great. Good to hear from Tom Gray. That's super cool.
I have a tech tip.
Yep, tech tip.
Yeah, I actually
Never get a Magnum?
I've never used this, but I just saw it. It was a video.
Ah.
So say your front end's cocked up on your bike. It showed taking like a piece of tempered glass, about this big, rectangular.
Okay.
Nice and flat. And you could maybe use like a tile or something, like something that's flat.
Something you know is flat.
Perfect flat.
Right.
And just putting it up against the forks. And it'll rock.
Yes, it will.
If the forks aren't in a perfect line. So then
Yes,
you
it will.
loosen your triple trees, you move it around, and when you can lay that glass on there and it sits flat,
Get
you know
everything on plane.
You know everything's on plane.
Okay, so my trick for that same thing that I've done my whole life was to loosen every bolt on every clamp in the entire front end of the motorcycle.
Yeah.
All of it. Bounce it, and then only tighten the axle. And let the axle be the divining rod of what true is. So only tighten the axle, spin the wheel with the axle tight, and then you don't want to see the wheel, the forks want to pull hard to the left or hard to the right when you got it up on a milk crate, right? And then once you've got that, and the wheel's spinning true, and everything's loose, but the axle's tight, then I start from the bottom and tighten my way up to the top. I can't even imagine how much easier it would be to just grab a window pane and lay it across your forks. Because, yeah, of course, it would click, click, click. It wouldn't be flat. Yeah. That's absolutely great. That's super cool. Yeah, because it's only going to be straight one way.
Yeah. And like you can loosen them. I've done that too. You loosen it all up, but that, maybe it doesn't quite settle out, and you have to give it a little English or something like that. Yeah. So if you could lay that on the forks and it sits nice and flat, then at least it's straight there.
Oh, it's straight there. Yeah. Because I've tried all the tape measures, rulers, all that other crap.
Motion Pro makes different kinds of tools too that you can put between the fork legs.
I got a bunch of them.
But that's as simple as it gets.
It
man.
does. I
great.
love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is brilliant. That's a really good tech tip. Thank you very much, John. If that's it, that's all we got. Remember, folks, ride fast and take chances. Play us out here, John.
Bum 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 bum.
Eject, get us out of here, sleeping. Hit the red button. And we're out.